And we were supposed to go to an Eminem concert that night. My boyfriend had tickets to an Eminem concert, and he was supposed to wait for me to get off work so we could go together. And I get off work, and I'm trying to get a hold of him, and he's just straight up, goes to me, not answering. I get back to his house, and at this point, he's basically living alone. His mom's always over at her boyfriend's house. His dad had moved out, so this is like the party house now. Like, he's throwing rockers there, parties all the time. So we basically just lived out of there. So I get back to the house, and he's gone. He had left.
He already went to the concert?
Oh, yeah. He left without me.
What a dirtball.
I know, right? So I lay on the couch just waiting, and he doesn't come home, like, all night. He doesn't get home till, like, 6 or 7 in the morning. And I had kind of fallen asleep.
That hurts. That still hurts.
Oh, yeah. That was, like, I can remember how that felt. That was such a horrible feeling. He would do that shit all the time.
It's a huge gut punch.
Yeah, and he would do that shit to me all the time. Like, just leave and disappear for the whole night.
And you don't know.
And all I can think about is the fact that he's fucking around with other girls. And so he finally gets home, and I'm sleeping on the couch, and he tries to, like, lean over and kiss me or something.
Ooh, buddy.
And I slapped him right across the face.
Yeah.
And he fucking went insane. He started screaming at me and swinging on me and shit.
He was cheating.
Oh, yeah. Just totally, absolutely went postal on me. He took back then. So I had, like, one of those old ass cell phones, all you could do is really call, make texts.
Yeah.
And, he took that and slammed it up against the wall. And so I'm like, I'm leaving. So I go out to my truck to leave, but his sister has this boyfriend who's older than her, and he's parked behind me, so I can't get out. So I go sit in my truck, and my boyfriend comes running out with just totally, like, banging on my truck window. He picks up a brick from his yard and throws it through my driver's side window. And this is like my baby, this truck is like baby.
What's wrong with this dude?
I know, right? And I'm sure he was like, and had smoked crack and was all coked up that night. I mean, he went to an Eminem concert and was out all night. I'm sure he was on.
We ready, Bruno? Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Should I do my thing?
Okay, do your thing, Blue.
Great. We're back. We have Amanda Bosley with us from Cleveland, Ohio. That's 2 in a row.
Yeah, man. Cleveland's.
Oh, nice.
2 Clevelanders in a row.
Represent.
Thanks for making the trip. Thanks for keeping your word, most importantly.
Yes, my word is gold,
Yes, my word is my bond is what I say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without it, you got nothing.
Yeah.
But we want to learn what it was like for you as a kid growing up, to kind of paint a picture of what that looked like and what led into the craziness that came after.
Yes, yeah. Well, so my childhood was very split. First, I do want to say first that anybody that I talk about, family members, people that I love, anybody that I bring up, it's not to, like, dog on them or make them feel bad or anything like that. I hold no resentments today. So
You're just telling the truth.
Yeah. One thing, and I do want to have this disclosure because I know that, some people, they are very invested in my support, my recovery now that we're not so much great figures in my life. So I just, I want them to know that there's no resentments there. There's forgiveness. I heard something one time that it's like there's no such thing as justified resentments. And I hold that close to me. So I'm definitely not resentful, just telling the truth, the facts. So yeah, I had a very split childhood. My parents got divorced when I was only 5. And I remember being, like, terrified that I was never going to see my dad again. Like, he was like this, hero in my life. Like, he was the stability in my life. My mom was kind of always just going off and partying with her friends. She'd leave for weekends at a time, and she'd take the car, and I remember walking up to the grocery store with my dad in the freezing cold just to get enough to eat that day. Jeez. Because just what we could carry. And so she was just kind of like off and running, and you know, she really just was trying to figure herself out. She had my sister when she was only 16, and
Boy.
and then her and my dad got married, and she had me when she was only like 19 or 20, and so my dad was like this stability in my life. And when the day he left, I remember asking him, like, am I ever going to see you again? You know, he's like, of course. So that was a really scary and confusing time for me. It wasn't long after he left. I mean, I was 5, so it could have been 2 weeks. It could have been 2 months. I don't really
Right.
know. But my stepdad moved in. My mom moved in another guy.
That quick?
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
And
On the back burner.
Mom is not playing.
oh, no, she wasn't fucking around at all. And so he seemed pretty cool at first. And but I remember the first time that she had left us alone with him because she had to go to work or whatever. I mean, who knows? She was probably running around or whatever. But she left us alone with him, and he was with a couple of his friends. And I was playing outside till dark, came in after dark, brought in a big, huge stick with me in the house. And he was like, what are you doing with that in the house? Go throw that back outside. That doesn't belong in the house. And I was just like, okay, you know, I'm listening. I always listened. And threw it back outside, and I came back in, and he was laughing and just kind of being funny. He's like, never mind, go back out and get that stick. So I didn't think anything of it, and brought it back in, and he was like, all right, turn around, hand it to me and turn around. So I did. No adult had ever like been violent with me. I had seen my mom get violent towards my dad, and he was never reactive, but up to that point I had never had an adult do anything to me that I would even think that was a possibility. And he whacked me on the back of my legs with it.
Wow.
And him and his buddies are laughing, and like I just remember feeling extremely scared. And
Him and his buddies are laughing.
oh yeah, they're laughing
That's
about it. And,
wild.
yeah.
How hard does he whack it?
It was enough to leave a mark.
Oh.
It's the friends laughing that really gets me fired up.
Yeah, like I remember, and so it wasn't just like the scariness of just getting hit, but it was like I felt that embarrassment and that shame of being laughed at.
Yeah,
you know, it was just
exactly.
like I was like this
That's
joke,
probably
and
way worse than the pain.
yeah, and I was only 5, and I remember it. It's a very vivid memory for me. So yeah, they ended up getting married and had my little brother, and he was like, he wasn't as violent with me as he was my older sister, which is my half sister, so me and her have different dads. So he didn't get as violent with me as he did her, and I was just a really quiet kid. Like I was just very quiet. I did what I was told, didn't really get in trouble a lot. So he wasn't as aggressive towards me. Him and my mom would get in a lot of like serious, like full on physical fights. And I just remember being like having to scream, you know, and cry because I thought they were going to kill each other. So I, you know, a couple times had to call 911, and then he'd get arrested, and then we'd be going up to the jail to visit him. You know, it was just like this chaos. And
Would you get scolded for that by your mom?
yeah, they would get mad at me. I mean, there was a couple of times where children's services got involved, and so of course that was always thrown in my face in the future. Like, this is what happens when you get police involved, and you know, this is for the adults to handle, not you.
Right.
But you're like standing in the hallway watching them just beat the fuck out of each other.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm like, at this point, I'm like 2nd, 3rd grade, and I'm just like terrified. One time my mom did something to him, and he was laying on the couch covering his face, and she like got on top of him, and she was saying, don't cry. But I thought she was saying, don't die. And I thought she had killed him. So that wasn't one time I had called. It was just a really scary situation to be in. But then at my dad's house, so I would go with my dad every weekend, and he lived with my aunt and my grandma. And this was just like the most wholesome home you could have, you know, just stable, loving, secure, 3
Normal.
meals, no
Complete
neglect.
opposite ends of the
Yes,
spectrum.
yes, absolutely.
Does
So
Dad know about the stepdad?
not at first. So when he would see marks on me and stuff, and I always blamed it on my older sister because she would beat me up, you know. So she would, you know, me and her would get in some serious brawls, and So it was always like I'd have bruised ribs and stuff, and I never really knew if they came from her or him. So I just always said it was Amy, and I think my dad always assumed it was her. And then finally one day my grandma was giving me a bath, and she had noticed like some pretty significant like fingerprint bruises on my arm, and she told my dad there's no way that those bruises came from another kid.
Right.
They're adult fingerprints. So I guess my dad went and choked up my
Good
stepdad
for
and like
your dad.
told him like, you
Oh,
ever
damn,
lay a
dude,
hand on
really?
my daughter
Thank
again,
you, Dad.
you're gonna be 6 feet under. I'll go to prison. I don't care.
Wow.
So he didn't touch me after that. I mean, he was still mean as fuck, but he didn't lay a finger on me after
that's
that. And then my sister just got like the brunt of it,
That's great.
which kind of sucked
Well,
for
that
her.
sucks, but that's
yeah.
great that he did that.
Yeah. And my sister, you know, I do give my sister and my mom a lot of credit, because they really like taught me how to be like a badass. You know, they taught me not to be scared and just to be resilient. My sister freaking taught me how to fight in like some of the most unconventional ways. You know, we lived in this, like, I call it an amateur Cleveland. It's kind of like, it was in a poor area and it's kind of like ghetto-ish, but we lived in, and we would run around and stuff, and she would put me and some other girls my age in the backyard with her older friends.
Like Fight Club back then?
Yeah. And she would make us fight each other. They would make us fight each other. And I just remember like being dragged around by my hair by these like fucking crazy girls and shit. But it taught me how to fight, you know, and that was something I really needed later in life. And my mom really taught me how to be like, actually the opposite of codependent, you know, just very like, and that's kind of funny considering her situation, but she was like this very stoic woman. You know, she didn't show a lot of emotion, but she was a hard ass, and she didn't take shit from anyone, hence probably why her and my stepdad would duke it out, because she wouldn't, you know, she was usually the one to throw the first punch. So like, I do give them credit for that, but it was insane because I was very anxious. I would go from this house of like just absolute chaos to this home of like just normalcy, like just being normal and having a safe place to be.
So you got to see both sides.
Like I had a foot in both worlds.
Yeah.
And that really taught me, like, I had to start observing the room. It was very quiet. So I really had to start observing people in a way that I had to read their energy. I had to read their vibe. Okay, is this a good time to do this or to bring this up or to talk, or is this a bad time? You know, sometimes it was like, oh, everything was great with my mom and my stepdad. They were in great moods. We would do fun things and stuff like that. But then other times it was like,
Stay away.
yeah, and like I'm just gonna, you know, retreat back to my room or just retreat within myself. I really learned to suppress my emotions a lot. You know, showing any kind of like weakness or sadness or crying just was not okay. It just wasn't, you know, it usually was met with aggression. And so I just really learned not to show those emotions. And but then, you know, with my dad, it was like he really taught me a lot about like morals and values. And he was just a very like, the thing about my dad, though, is I didn't realize when I was younger, but he had his own issue. Like, he was a functional alcoholic. You know, he would go to work every day, but he'd come home and drink. He usually would go down the street to his friend's house, and, you know, I'd be with my grandma, and he'd go down the street and have beers with his friend every night after work. But he maintained this up until recently. Now he's just, like, full-blown, but we'll get to that, I guess. But he was there when it mattered the most. You know, he was there when I really needed him, but otherwise he was just kind of passive. And, you know, there'd be times where we would spend time together and he would tell me things and talk to me about things. But he wasn't like present in my everyday.
Like a staple.
Right. Yeah. So, eventually though, he did convince my mom to let me go live with him by the time I was in 4th grade. By telling her he would still pay her child support if she would let me.
Yeah. It's a win-win for mom.
Right, go live with him. So she was okay with that. I do give my mom credit, though, because then she ended up having my sister go live with my grandparents. And she really kind of came to admit that she just wasn't fit to be a parent. It wasn't a good situation for us. And so instead of trying to hold on to her pride and keeping us in that situation, she let us go places that she knew we would be taken care of. In which I experienced myself later in life with my own son. So it really helped me to see a different perspective from her point of view. My little brother stayed with her, but he had a totally different experience with his parents than what we did. He's 7 years younger than me. So by the time he got older, he had a different mom and a different dad than what I experienced. Like my stepdad was his dad, but he never experienced that side of his dad. And from what I understand, his dad's a pretty good guy now. Like he's really calmed down a lot and he's made a lot of positive changes for himself. So I give him that. We all have our demons, you know, we all have something that made us the way that we were and the things that we did. You know, it's just what you do with it. Right. So, I went to go live with my dad and things were pretty good for a while. So I went from living in that like poor area that was kind of like a mini Cleveland to this really nice area that was
suburb.
Yes, just a really nice town. You know, it's just not a lot of diversity at all whatsoever. So I went there and it was pretty cool for a while. And then 6th grade, I started hanging out with this girl and her parents were like these hippies. They were cool. They were really cool people, but we knew they were smoking pot all the time. We smelled it. You know, just totally bake out their house. You know, so. And I remember telling her I was 11 and I was like, I want to know what it's like to get drunk and high. Like, I want to know what it feels like to get drunk and high. So she found her parents' stash, got some weed for us, and then she stole some Goldschlager from them.
Oh, God.
And we put it in Pepsi. It was the most foul thing.
Well, I threw up in my mouth.
I know, it's so foul. And but we drank it,
That's
and
gross.
I remember getting a little buzz, but I wasn't like drunk. I mean, sure, we probably didn't drink a lot of it. We were probably scared to take too much. I don't really remember, but I was a little buzzed. And then we went to the woods. We brought some tinfoil, tried to make some makeshift bowl out of it to smoke the weed. And I remember, again, feeling a little buzzed, but I didn't feel like messed up off of it. I was still able to like, you know, function, and especially being my first time, I was kind of like, oh, this isn't bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So after that, I was on a mission. I was like, I want to keep trying this. I want to keep seeing how far I can take this. So she lived in an area, I would go to her house all the time, and she lived in an area where you could walk around. You know, there's all these streets you could walk around. There's all these other kids that lived down there, and there was this park that everybody would go hang out at, and like the older kids would go hang out there and smoke weed and stuff. So we started getting ourselves in those crowds with like the older kids and stuff, and it wasn't hard to find people who were willing to like smoke with us or drink with us. And still 11 years old in 6th grade, so I have a late birthday, so I was always like behind everybody. I didn't turn 12 until like the summer before my 7th grade year.
Jeez.
So we're doing this, and then you know, my friend groups start changing and stuff, but still finding the people that do these things. And 7th grade, I had a best friend, and we would go hang out at our dad's house, and he smoked weed, so we'd get into his weed. And you know, it was just pretty much for 6th and 7th grade, it was just weed and alcohol. We started going out to my mom's house. So by this time, my mom had left my stepdad.
Okay.
They were separated, so it was just her and my brother living in this apartment in East Cleveland, and not in a good area at all. And so we would go out there on the weekends, and I would watch my little brother, and my mom would be cool with getting us alcohol and cigarettes, and because I was providing the babysitting service.
Yeah.
So that was cool as fuck. You know, we were like, yeah, you know, so it was like an every weekend thing. We'd go out there, and so then, and she was a bartender, so she would be gone all night pretty much. And I'd be in charge of my little brother. So at this point, I'm like 12, 13. So he's only like
Yeah, you
6.
got to what, like 3, 4 a.m. probably, with your mom being a bartender.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And sometimes she'd come home and we'd still be partying, and she was just like but that she was like, she had this, again, it was like from my childhood trying to read, okay, which version of her am I going to get?
Yeah.
So sometimes she'd come home and be cool and totally just kind of hang with us. And then other times she'd come home pissed as fuck, like cleaning like crazy, like, vacuuming and slamming the vacuum against the wall and stuff, just being very passive aggressive. And
Sounds so bipolar. As
yeah,
fuck, man.
yeah. So it was just, but it was still, it's like, this is cool. I'm in 7th, 8th grade. I got a mom that's, cool with us partying and supplying shit for us.
Yeah, what
And
more can you ask for?
Are you getting drunk? Now are you like
Oh,
sober,
yeah.
intoxicated?
oh yeah.
Okay.
So the first time I actually ended up getting like super fucking cooked off of weed, someone gave me a Darvocet. Do you remember?
Yeah, I
They
remember
don't
the
make those
Darvies.
anymore,
I remember
but
the Darvies.
yeah. So the pink, big, huge pink
Giant
reddish pill.
pills,
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone gave me one of those. Like it was one of the older kids we were hanging out with, and so I took that and we smoked there was like 3 of us, and there was like this fat blunt, and I was like, oh, I can just keep smoking it, because I remember the first time I smoked, I didn't get that high. I'm like, I can handle a lot. Holy fuck. I might as well have just been tripping. And I'm walking around East Cleveland and just walking the streets. It's broad daylight, and I straight up passed out in somebody's front yard. Just laid down and passed out. I don't even know how long I was out for. I'm surprised nobody called the cops, but I'm not surprised.
What is Darvocet?
It's an opiate.
Like a mild,
Yeah.
like a very, very low dose of,
Yeah.
killer.
They used to, and that used to be like the go-to. That was usually what they would give you first, so that was the go-to. And but they discontinued it because it was bad for your health. Imagine that. There was something about it that was like giving people heart attacks or aneurysms or some shit, I don't know. So they discontinued it a long time ago.
That's a terrible drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oxycontin was way better.
Yeah. Way better.
So yeah, we did that. I did that for a while. So then, the internet came out around that time, and my dad had gotten a computer, the whole dial-up modem. You had to have a whole
Nobody could be
extra
on
full
the
life for it and stuff. And we found this chat room. It was like Cool Chat or something.
Sounds epic. Cool chat.
Yeah. So we started, my dad started getting into it and getting on there. Well, he meets this woman on there, and she lives in Washington State. So I'm in 8th grade, and he decides he's going to move to Washington State to be with this woman. But he said, I can stay here with my grandma and my aunt, so I don't have to move all the way across the country. And he's going to go there and establish himself. And if I want to move there to finish out school, that'll be up to me. So as soon as he left, I don't remember what I felt. I don't remember feeling like upset about it, or I don't really remember feeling anything about it. But I think at this point I had already like suppressed and numbed a lot of my emotions. So I just was neutral. Like I just was whatever. And so I seen that as my opportunity. I'm going to go live with my mom because that's the party place. That's where I want to be. So I'm going to go live with her.
And her apartment with your brother.
Yeah. So that's what I did. It was like the middle of my 8th grade year. I moved out there with her. I was meeting all kinds of people out there, and they were all older. It's freaking amazing to me that I was hanging out with all these older, like teenage boys, and none of them were like creeps or pervs or anything. They didn't never try anything weird on me. They were just, it was a place to hang out. It was a place they could smoke their weed and drink without worrying about where they're going to go to do it. So, I recognized that they were kind of using me for that, but at least I'm just really grateful they didn't get any other ideas in that situation. I was in a lot of sketchy situations like that. I'm just really shocked, like nothing more serious ever happened to me.
We kind of had someone like that in high school at a house, and we would always go over there, and we were actually good friends with her dad. I don't know, is arguably more so than the person themselves, you think?
Half and half.
Half and half, yeah.
Yeah.
And like dad would come in, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Drinking, smoking.
Yep. Mom would do that
all
too.
the time.
Depending on her mood. Sometimes she'd come home and she would smoke with us and drink with us, and
sometimes she'd kick everybody out.
Yeah. So some of the older kids, they were way older, like 16, 17, 18.
How old are you now?
I'm 13.
13, okay.
So then they had this older friend. His name was actually Lewis. And
Oh boy.
Let me fucking find out, Lou.
He must be a savior of
Yeah.
some sort.
Find out.
he would come over, and he was the dealer. You know, he had all the weed.
Yes.
So he would lay it all out, and he would come to my mom's place to be able to break everything down and separate it into bags and stuff. And he was cool as fuck. Like,
Fuck yeah, he
was
was.
totally cool. And he started teaching me, showing me.
God,
You
he's
had a deal?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Lewis is the man.
He was
Yeah.
schooling me, you know. He
Okay.
was like, "All right, he was grooming me to be a runner for him, basically." So he started teaching me the shit, and of course, where I lived, you could walk pretty much all over the place, and there was all.
Yeah.
Business everywhere.
Oh yeah. So he would give me the shit, have me go deliver the goods, bring back the money, and then he'd give me free weed for doing it. So I was like 13. This is a good ass deal,
Yeah,
right?
great.
Like I'm getting a
Yeah.
good deal out of this. So I did that for a while, and then in the meantime, I'm going to this school. It's called Margaret Spellisy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you're going to school
Yeah,
during
so
any of
there's-
this at all.
Sometimes I wasn't really going, but I had to go sometimes because of, you know, truancy and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I wasn't really going like I should have been. I had to ride the RTA bus to school
What's
where we
that,
live,
the short bus?
like the city bus.
Oh, the public bus.
Yeah, it
Man.
wasn't like they gave you an RT, like a public bus ticket, and you had to go catch the bus.
Damn.
One day I missed my bus stop on the way home, and they brought me all the way to downtown Cleveland.
Oh.
That was
Did they just
pretty.
drop you off?
Yeah, I just got off because I was like, I don't know I just got off, and then I was like right in the middle of downtown Cleveland. There was the courthouse right there, so I ended up walking in the courthouse and talking to someone. I'm like, I'm lost, like.
Wow.
So they had to call my mom and stuff, but so yeah, I'm having to ride the city bus to school because the school is like all the way across. I don't even know, it was so far, and it was like the school is shut down now. So is the high school I went to. It was ghetto as fuck. Like, I was the minority.
Damn.
It was ghetto, but it was cool. You know, everybody was cool with me. Like, everybody smoked weed, and we all, like, we're in 8th grade, and we're all, like, talking about smoking weed, getting together after school, smoking
So
blunts,
That's
and
insane.
That's so crazy to
Yeah.
me because
Yeah.
there was no discussion of that
Yeah.
for me in 8th grade.
yeah, no, it was just the norm, you know, and it was like, there was no class. Like, everybody would just pull their desks together and be playing like spades and poker and shit.
God,
Like,
it's like fucking jail.
it was absolute
Spades.
chaos. Like, there was just no order. And I remember school getting called off for like a week or two because some kid tried to shoot at the security guard at the school. I mean, it was crazy. And then high school started. I started at Collinwood. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Collinwood in Cleveland,
No.
but it's pretty crazy. You know, big, huge detectors when you walk in the doors,
Oh,
and just
man.
fights break out left and right
Jeez.
all day. It's just chaos. And but everybody was cool with me. Like, I didn't have any issues. Like, I wasn't, like, even though I was probably like one of the only white girls in the school, like, everybody was cool. As long as I didn't fuck around or fuck with them or anything, like, I was good. They would actually mess with me. Like, this new kid came, and he was a white kid, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Amanda," you know, like,
Your own kind.
yeah, right,
You
like,
related?
yeah, like, hey, you know, there you go, you got a boyfriend now, and
Yeah, and then, like, at no point in your head are you ever like, I'm in like Iraq. Where the fuck am I? It's all normal to you?
actually, you know, at that point, I felt like I was kind of in my element. Like, I felt like I was in the environment because I had gotten so used to chaos in my life before that. You know, so I almost felt like more comfortable in that environment than I did in like the
And then,
small
grandma,
town.
yeah.
Yeah, you know. So my grandma had found out, my mom's mom, and that's who my sister was living with. And she had found out like what was going on in my mom's house. Like, she had found out like my
Like,
mom.
all the partying
Yeah,
and the-
yeah. So she came, and she had told my mom like she was taking me, and if my mom wasn't okay with that, she was gonna call Children's Services. So my grandma made me go live with her, and in this meantime too, like, my dad, he's in Washington State, but he knows he knows the school I'm going to, and he is just not happy with that. So he was trying to talk to my mom and figure out a way they could get me into the St. Joseph private school that was out there. That was, a little bit better, I guess. And but my grandma was like, nope, we're taking you back. You're going to go back to the school that you were going to before. So I had to go back and, I got pulled back out there.
Are you mad at grandma for doing that?
I was salty,
Yeah.
but like I also was kind of scared too, like with the threat of children's
Right.
services.
Oh,
And like
yeah.
remember like when I was younger, my mom kind of like made this huge deal about it and how horrible it'd be. And I was worried for my little brother, if they would take him. And so I was compliant. I was like, all right, I'll go, just don't start shit.
Sure.
So actually it kind of scared me enough that I was like, all right, I'm going to go back. I'm going to start like off fresh. I'm not going to smoke weed anymore. I'm not going to drink. I still smoke cigarettes, but I was like, I'm not going to party. I'm not going to do that shit
And
anymore.
you're how old now?
I'm in 9th grade, so I was 14.
14.
Yeah.
You're giving it up at
Yeah.
14.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm
Moving on
gonna
in life.
I'm gonna get sober.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
clean.
be
Wow.
straight. And
Imagine saying that at 14. Jeez.
I did good with it for a while, and of course, I didn't change anything about myself.
You're
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, I didn't change anything.
What the hell are you
know?
going to change? You haven't even grown up yet.
Right, and I just could not get out of my head how good it felt to be outside of myself.
Yeah.
To be able to smoke weed and drink and just not feel anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the anxiety would just disappear. And so I couldn't get that out of my head. And so I started finding all the right people, the people that had that shit, and started hanging out. I was such a chameleon. Like I hung out with so many different people, so many different like crowds and groups of people, and I could just kind of blend in. So it was really easy for me in that case. So then like halfway through my freshman year, I think it was towards the end, I started dating this sophomore boy. And he was like the most wannabe
Oh,
ghetto
no. Is he one of those?
gangster in the most whitest community, just yeah. So
why?
Yeah, what's so appealing about him?
maybe
bad
the
boy.
bad boy persona,
But
that
you knew it was fake.
that stereotype. Yeah, I didn't at the time.
Oh,
in
okay,
hindsight,
okay,
but
okay.
I was like, oh yeah, because when I was actually in the real ghetto, I felt like that was my place. Like I felt like that was my element. So he was appealing to me because I'm like, oh, he gets me.
Right.
He gets where I
Right.
feel like I belong. And so I started hanging out with him. I didn't even really like him at first. Like he kind of got on my nerves, and we started dating, but he was up my ass, and I didn't like that. That was one thing about me too.
Like out of jealousy?
Yeah, he was. He wasn't really. Not at first. He wasn't. It was more like just like pawing at me all the time, and just
Oh,
always
yeah.
wanting to be with me, and and I didn't like that because that was something I had learned about myself throughout my experience, is that when I was with somebody who was super anxiously attached with me, I would get really avoidant.
That's not attractive, right?
Right, I would just put this wall up. I would
Yeah.
just get super avoidant. But if I was with somebody who was avoidant and had the wall up, I was the anxious one, so I would be the one up their ass.
It's like a power struggle.
Man, and I kind of chalked that up to like my different worlds growing up,
Yeah.
so it just really caused a lot of confusion in me. I couldn't figure myself out. So yeah, he got on my nerves, and one of my good friends at the time, she was dating his best friend. So it was kind of like this cool thing how we're all hanging out together. But I decided I was going to break up with him because he got on my nerves. So I broke up with him, and he was just totally going crazy about it. And my friend convinced me, just try again.
Give him another shot.
Yeah, because, of course, her boyfriend, which was his best friend, was trying to get her to talk to me. And so I was like, all right, I'll do it. I have no idea what the fuck was going through my head, but within a couple of days of me getting back together with him, I lost my virginity to him.
Oh, God.
Still 14.
Oh.
So I lost my virginity to him, and that was it. You know, I was like locked in.
Yeah, your soulmates now.
So then, you know, the dynamic shifted. Now I was the one that was anxiously attached. He was the one that was like, now I got what I needed from you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but he became very possessive. He was actually like, he did have like this mentality, like he wanted to be a gangster wannabe kind of mentality, you know, really into like listening to 3-6 Mafia and like wanting to be like
I'm
that.
cringing on the inside right now.
But he was really deep into like, he was, him and like, some of his friends were like selling weed and, but he started getting me into other shit. Like there was always other stuff around, coke, meth, acid, ecstasy, shrooms, you name it, they found it. So he really started like, that's when I really was like off and running. And once I discovered these other drugs, I was like, hell yeah. Like this is it right here.
Yeah.
And,
What tickled your fancy first? Like, what was it? The coke?
I think that was probably the first thing I tried outside of alcohol and weed. I didn't really like
I
the
was gonna
stimulants.
say, did you like snorting cocaine?
I didn't really like the stimulants. I didn't like the meth or the coke. I mean, I would do it just because it was there and it was something to do. But I didn't really prefer it. I didn't care for
I
it.
didn't either.
Especially the meth. I didn't like the come down. It was like total despair. Like it was like
It's fucking
the whole,
brutal.
Yeah.
Depression.
like the whole world is ending, and you know I am like at my darkest mental time. So I try to stay away from it. My thing was like the ecstasy and the acid. That's what I really chased, especially the ecstasy.
That was like big back in those days too, like in high school.
And that was like the real, like the
That's what-
real
the
shit,
good
like not the shit
yeah.
you see now. It was like the actual ecstasy that was coming from like the pill presses and stuff. And now it's like just like a bunch of dumb shit like
Yeah, you
MDMA
don't know
and
what the fuck you're getting anymore.
yeah. So yeah, so I was like on this mission all the time to find it. Actually, me and my friend went to like the straight up hood in Cleveland because, you know, this kid that we knew was like, because I still kept in touch with some of the kids that I hung out with in Cleveland. And he was like, yeah, come out here. I got a dude. You know, we were going to buy like, I think we had like $130 on us. We were going to buy like $130 worth of ecstasy.
Which is really only like 5 or 6 pills, right? Like they were like 20, 25 bucks.
I really don't remember. I
10
think they
bucks
were
a
like,
piece,
yeah,
maybe?
Like
they
they were,
weren't
yeah.
that much, you know. And so I had like these older guy friends that I would get to drive me around and shit. So I found one of my older guy friends to drive us out there. And dude comes out, gets my money. I'll be right back. And he doesn't come back.
Oh man.
You know, so here we are, like in the middle
Classic.
of like the straight up hood of
A
Cleveland.
bunch of white people in the middle of the hood.
Yeah. Still like 14, 15 years old. And I'm like, I'm going to get out and find this motherfucker.
Whoa, good
you
for
know,
you.
I'm like, I'm going to go start knocking on doors and find this bitch ass motherfucker, you know? So, my friend, she was like a lot more vanilla than me. So like, she was like, no, don't do it. Let's just get out of here. Da, da, da. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Like, he just fucking straight up took
He
us.
robbed
Like,
you.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this.
How
Like,
long do you wait before you have that realization?
probably about 30 minutes.
Okay.
And so I get out and I start, it's like this apartment complex. And I don't even know what apartment he had went into. So I just start fucking straight up knocking on people's
Wow.
doors. Oh, it's Justin here. And they're like, you know, most people are like just yelling at me through their doors and shit, not even opening their doors. And so I go up to this one door and this big ass dude opens it, covered in tattoos and shit. And he's like, yo, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm like, this motherfucker just robbed me and I'm looking for him. Is he here? And he's like, how old are you? And I told him, you know, I'm 15. And he's like, he just robbed your ass? How much did he rob your ass? I'm like, $130. And he didn't even ask, like, you know, why did you give him the money,
Yeah.
or did he just straight up take it or whatever? He's like, come on. he's like, come on, princess, we're going to find this motherfucker.
Damn.
And I was like, hell yeah, you know? So he's like, what's his name? And he starts yelling out in the middle of this apartment complex in the hallway, like, you motherfucker, you better come out. You know, just yelling threats and shit like that. Of course he didn't. And so he's like, dude was like, he's like, I'm going to walk you out to your car. So he walked me back out to the car, and he was like, he just gave me this like speech about like, I don't know where your parents are at, but you need to be careful, and, you know, don't fuck around these motherfuckers. They're shady as fuck, da da da. You know, this whole speech. So that was the last time I did anything like that. It amazes me how many sketchy situations I had put myself in, but somehow got away without.
Yeah, unscathed. That's pretty sketchy, going door to door.
Yeah, I just didn't, and that's where like my mentality came from my mom. My mom's like that. She just does not give a fuck.
No
She will
fear.
challenge the biggest fucking person. She does not care who the fuck they are.
Damn.
And I just kind of had that as an example set to me. Like I wanted, almost like I needed her approval in a way. So I needed to be like that too. And
You reminded me of a time I gave my dealer money, and he was not answering. He ghosted me.
oh yeah.
So I went to, he was staying at his mom's house, and I knew where his mom lived.
Oh yeah.
And his mom was a sweetheart.
Aw.
So I went and knocked on the door. Mom answered. Oh, yeah, let me get him for you. He came out and headbutted the fuck out of me.
Damn.
Oh shit.
And was like, you think you're going to come knock on my mom's fucking door?
Oh
Come get
shit.
your shit? Chalk
Damn.
it. I was like, okay.
You're
That I will do.
Back down, yeah.
Because, I mean, you can see I'm not very big. So
yeah,
it's like
kind of like.
yeah.
Well, and that was another thing too, is I was like this tiny, you know, I'm 5'1".
Fucking 15.
Back then I was like 100 pounds,
Yeah.
you know, and I had something to prove. You know, I just had something I needed to prove. And so I was like this little girl in high school, like picking fights and getting in fights and shit, like just trying. I lived in one of those towns, in one of those schools where people would talk mad shit, but
Nobody's ever fighting.
Right.
Yeah.
Like nobody ever does shit about it. So I was like that person.
It's annoying.
I'm not even going to talk shit. I'm just going to,
I'm
I'm
just
just
gonna
going to
do it.
act. I'm just going to do it. So I would get in a lot of fights and then, so I'm still dating this guy, you know, and he starts to become really possessive and violent towards me. And
Why violent? Why? Like, for what reason?
well,
Just because you were talking to other guys, or you?
No,
you
it
as
was
friends,
he
or,
always
like,
thought I was, but I never was. Like I was actually really loyal to him, but he was very paranoid. So when I first met him, he was pretty normal. Like he played basketball, he got good grades. He still had kind of like this gangster mentality, like wannabe, but he was fairly normal. And you know, his parents were together, but then his parents were going through a divorce at the time, and his dad had moved out, and his mom was like, I didn't really notice it at that age, but now thinking back, she was just like a full-blown alcoholic. And so his family just broke up, and he started smoking crack with his friends. And that's one drug I've never done, is crack. I never smoked crack. I mean, I
Even
don't
still to this day.
till this day
Wow.
I never actually
you.
smoked crack.
Man, yeah.
So he started smoking crack with his friends, and that's when really, like,
In high school.
in high school. Oh yeah, this is all going on
God.
in high school. And so he really changed. He became very paranoid, very aggressive, and he was always paranoid that I was doing some shit, but he was. You know, he was doing that shit, you know, so it was like
That's
guilty
normally
conscience.
how it works.
Yeah.
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 They get paranoid because they're doing it.
So he was fucking around, and so when I would confront him on shit, that's when he would get violent with me. And I remember one night I was, so by this time I'm 16, I have my own, I had bought, like, I was like, it's insane how I was able to maintain. I still was getting like 4.0 average in school. I was going to school high as fuck every day. I could not go to school if I didn't have weed to smoke before school. Like, it just wasn't happening.
Yeah, that's how it was for me too.
Yeah. And like, I even like had some people teach me this trick. Like, if I put my shit down into like a travel coffee mug with some coffee grounds in there, because they would bring drug dogs to our school,
man.
and they couldn't sniff it out through the coffee grounds. So I had this whole setup and shit.
Did you have a car?
Yeah, I had my own. So I got my license like within a week of turning 16.
Leave that shit in your car.
That's what I
man.
did. It was in my car, but I would
Right.
also, because they would take the drug dogs around the parking
Around the
lot
parking lot.
too.
And then
Thirsty.
fucking park elsewhere, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, it was just crazy. So I had this sweet ass truck. I bought it off my stepbrother. So by this time, my dad had moved back up here with my stepmom, and my stepbrother came with them and his friend, and they got a place, and I moved in from my grandma's house with them. And so my stepbrother had this sweet ass truck, and he was trying to go back home to Washington, so he wanted to sell it. So he agreed to sell it to me. I just pay him $200 a month. And I was working, I was waitressing. So I'm at work. And we were supposed to go to an Eminem concert that night. My boyfriend had tickets to an Eminem concert, and he was supposed to wait for me to get off work so we could go together. And I get off work, and I'm trying to get a hold of him, and he's just straight up, ghosting me, not answering. I get back to his house, and at this point, he's basically living alone. His mom's always over at her boyfriend's house. His dad had moved out, so this is like the party house now. Like, he's throwing rockers there, parties all the time. So we basically just lived out of there. So I get back to the house, and he's gone. He had left.
Oh, he went to the concert?
Oh yeah, he left without me.
What a dirtball.
I know, right? So I lay on the couch just waiting, and he doesn't come home like all night. He doesn't get home till like 6 or 7 in the morning. And I had kind of fallen asleep.
That hurts. That
Yeah.
still hurts.
Oh yeah, that was like, I can remember how that felt. That was such a horrible feeling. He would do that shit all the time.
It's a huge
Yeah.
gut punch.
Yeah, and he would do that shit to me all the time. Like, just leave and
disappear.
disappear for the whole night.
And you don't know where the fuck he is, what
and
he's
all I
doing.
can think about is the fact that he's fucking around with other girls. And so he finally gets home, and I'm sleeping on the couch, and he tries to like lean over and kiss me or something.
Ooh, buddy.
And I bitch slapped him right across the face.
Yeah.
And he fucking went insane. He started screaming at me and swinging on me and shit.
He was cheating.
Oh yeah, just totally fucking just absolutely went postal on me. He took back then. So I had like one of those fucking old ass cell phones. All you could do is really call, make texts, and he took that and slammed it up against the wall. And so I'm like, fuck this, I'm leaving. So I go out to my truck to leave, but his sister has this boyfriend who's older than her, and he's parked behind me, so I can't get out. So I go sit in my truck, and my boyfriend comes running out with just totally like banging on my truck window. He picks up a brick from his yard and throws it through my driver's side window. And this is like my baby, this truck is like my baby.
What's wrong with this dude?
I know, right? And I'm sure he was like fucking had smoked crack and was all coked up that night. I mean, he went to an Eminem concert and was out all night. I'm sure he was on some.
He was able to go to the concert and not sell the tickets.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So I get out of the truck, and I'm trying to go after him now. And so his sister's big ass boyfriend is holding me back, and I'm just like, there's like this tree, and I'm grabbing on these branches. I'm about to like fuck him up, like he just busted my truck window, and I'm like ready to go. Like, now I'm gonna
7
fight.
a.m., right? Or 6
Yeah,
in the
it's like
morning.
early hours in the morning, and I'm like ready to fight, and so this big ass dude, he's holding me back, and he's struggling with me, I'm like hitting him, trying to get away from him. And so boyfriend picks up a brick again, throws it at the side of my truck, dents it, picks it up again, throws it at my front headlight, busted that out.
Dude, I would fuck him up.
So by this time, though, I'm just like, I am just defeated. Like, I get to my knees and I start crying, and I'm begging him to stop. Like, please stop. This is like,
It's my baby.
yeah. And I was just fucking, I was so fucked up from it. And so finally I get out of there, And I left, and I told him the next day, I said, I can't bring my truck home. If my dad sees this, like, he's
Yeah.
going to fucking know. You know, like, he's going to ask me what the fuck happened. Like, I cannot take my truck home like this. What am I supposed to do?
How bad was the truck? We got the broken
So my driver's side window was completely busted out.
side window, dent in the side of the
There's
truck.
a huge dent in the side, and the headlights busted out.
Oh, bro, that's a bad morning.
So his mom always bailing him out of trouble. You know, if he gets in trouble, like he would get in trouble with the law a lot and shit. Like she would pay for this really expensive lawyer to get him out of trouble. So she says, okay, well, I'll take the truck and get it fixed. I'll get everything fixed on it. And she let me drive her car.
Wow.
So, but I had to keep staying at other friends' houses and shit while this was happening. So my dad wouldn't see that I didn't have my car. And again, like I had mentioned earlier, my dad was kind of passive. Like as long as I called him and was like, I'm not coming home tonight. Okay. You know, there was no questions asked. There was no like, you need to come home or anything like that. It was just like, okay. You know, it's like, whatever, do whatever. So as long as I let him know, we were cool. So I just kept calling him. I'm staying at this person's house. I'm not coming home, you know. And so finally my truck was fixed. So my truck it was actually a legal tint for Ohio because it came from Washington State. So the windows had this like illegal tint on it. It was so dark.
Yeah.
But my driver's side.
What's the legal tint in Seattle or in Washington State?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Dark as fuck.
I know I kept getting pulled over for it though.
Really?
Yeah, I got pulled over a couple times.
I have a legal tint on my car, been pulled over once.
Yeah, I got pulled over a couple times. I mean, this truck was this was such a badass truck though. It was like this little Toyota.
These
short
cops
head.
like super thirsty.
Well, it's where I live too. Like, you know, these small town cops.
Nothing
like
else to do.
and
But it's window fucking tint. I mean, come on,
right?
man.
Like, you know, but I would always like once they seen who was driving the car, they were like, oh, okay,
Okay, bye.
You know? Yeah. And that I got myself out of a lot of shit because of that too.
Of course.
So, but the tint wasn't fixed on my driver's side, so it didn't match the rest of the windows. Like there was no tint, but my dad never noticed. Like he never said anything or never noticed. So it's whatever. So of course I kept going back and kept playing this game, you know, and just kept we would break up and I'd try to get away from him. I'd start talking to other people and he just fucking stalked the shit out of me. And the one guy, so I started dating this one guy that I actually had a really big crush on in elementary school, but he had like moved away. And I was waitressing at this Steak and Shake at the time, and he had came into the restaurant. And I had told one of the older lady servers, I'm like, oh my God, I used to have the biggest crush on him in elementary school. So she went over and told him and stuff, and we started talking. So we started dating. I was broken up with the other guy at the time, and so we started dating. We were hanging out. Well, my ex had found out, and he showed up at this guy's house with a gun and held him up against the wall and told him, like, if you don't break up with her, I'm going to blow your fucking head off.
Malibu's Most
Dude.
Wanted's going ham.
Dude fucking broke up with me that night. You know, he called me and was like, sorry. I'm
assuming you were relieved.
It's not, yeah.
No, this was the
Oh,
dude.
it was the new guy.
It was the new guy because
dude pressed
Ex-
down on
yeah.
him with a gun, yeah.
So
Well,
it scared the
can't
fucking
blame
shit
him.
out. Oh
Can't
yeah, I mean,
blame
of
him,
course,
yeah.
I never blamed him for that. I mean, I actually felt bad that he had to experience that because of, you know, this craziness that I was dealing with. And so, but every time he would do shit like that, I'd go back to him. And
So after that
so
was
much.
done, you were like, oh, I'm coming back.
yeah, I
You
mean, it
must
wasn't
have
like
him.
immediate like that, but like, you know, and so I remember my senior year, I had trying to break up with him, and I was just totally like resolved. I'm not going back to him. We're done. It's over. He used to always have his grandparents would buy him these really nice cars, and he would wreck them and fuck them up. And like, he, you know, but so he always had these really nice like Mustangs, like, and the colors always stood out. There was like a amber or a red or something. So I'm driving home one night from work or something, and I look in my rearview mirror, and he's fucking following me. And I'm like, motherfucker, dude. And he's trying to like pull up alongside of me on the road and stuff, and I'm just trying to get home. So I had my cell phone. I called my dad, and I was like, Dad, you know, dude's following me home. Like, I'm about to be there. What do you want me to do? He's like, stay in your car. When you pull in the driveway, stay in your car. I was like, all right. So I pull in the driveway. He pulls up behind me and blocks me from being able to get out of my driveway. He has somebody else driving the car. He jumps out of the passenger seat,
boy.
comes up to my window and starts banging on the door. You better get out and fucking talk to me and da-da.
God.
My dad comes walking out the front
I love
door.
your dad.
My dad was like a hunter back then. He would like go deer hunting and stuff. So
Bring
he
his
had
rifle
this
out.
like he had like one of those crossbows like those.
Oh, shit.
So he comes walking out with that at his side, like just ready to fucking.
Crossbow someone in between the eyes.
And my ex, he goes running up to his back up to his car, and you know it had like the automatic lock. So when he got out, the door had locked, and he's sitting there trying to get the passenger door open. He's like, "Open the door, man! Open the door! Open the fucking door!" He's about to like shit his pants, you know. So he gets in and they drive away. But yeah, so it was just this constant shit, you know. So then when I was 15. About to turn 16. A lot of people are probably going to judge me for this, but I don't care. I got pregnant
With
dude, with
Malibu
crazy
Dare.
dude.
No one's going to judge you for that.
Well, this is the part that might judge me for.
Oh, okay, cool.
He was in juvenile detention when I found out I was pregnant, like for some other shit. Like his friends were always like robbing people and fucking just doing dumbass shit. We would have like these big ass parties at his house, and the cops were always coming and breaking it up. Like, I mean, there was just all this shit going on. And so he was in juvenile detention, and I found out I was pregnant. And so he had stolen this like brand new desktop computer. It's still in the box. You know, back then that's when there were desktops. We didn't really have laptops and shit. It was still in the box and everything. And he told me, he's like, "You're going to sell that computer and you're going to get an abortion." Like,
God.
and I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do this. Like, I cannot tell my dad I'm pregnant. Like, I knew. So when I was like 14 and my dad moved back from Washington, and knew I was moving back with him, my grandparents didn't care that I smoked cigarettes. Like, I would go outside and smoke, and they didn't care as long as I went outside. But I didn't know how my dad was going to feel about it. But I wanted to tell him I smoked cigarettes because I didn't want to be stuck at home and not be able to smoke if I wanted to. So we're in the car, and I tell him, you know, "Dad, I have something to tell you. You have to promise me you're not going to get mad at me." And he's like, "If you tell me you're pregnant, I'm going to throw you out of this goddamn car." And I was like, "No, I smoke." He's like, "Oh, I already knew that." And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" But so since he had said that to me, so now at 15, I'm like, I cannot fucking tell my dad I'm pregnant. Like, I won't have anybody. Like, he'll fucking disown me, you know? And, you know, of course, my crazy boyfriend was like, her dad's going to fucking kill me, you know? So he's telling me, you have to have an abortion. You cannot have this baby. And I can say that I did not want to have the baby either. It wasn't just like him ordering me to do it. I was absolutely terrified. I'm like, I am not ready to fucking have a baby. So I had to go through this whole fucking ordeal. Like, we had this older friend, he was an adult, and he had to do all this driving around for me, but I had to go to downtown Cleveland to go to the courthouse, and I had to get this like guardian ad litem type lawyer. So basically what it is you can get, I don't remember the exact term for it, but you basically get temporary emancipation to be able to sign for your own abortion, so you don't have to tell your parents.
Yeah.
So I had to go through all this shit. Like, I had to keep.
So it was because you were underage.
Yeah.
You got jumped through hoops.
Oh yeah. So I kept having to go out there, and so finally I got to sit in front of the judge, and I just like laid it on thick. I was like, you know, my dad's side of the family, they're really religious, and they're not going to be okay with me being pregnant or having an abortion. They're going to make me marry this guy, and he's my abuser. And
Wow, you really did pour it on.
yeah. And I'm like, my mom hasn't been a part of my life because at this point, you know, she's been in and out of my life. And I'm like, I'll have nobody. I'll be completely disowned. Like, I'm going to be living on the streets. Like, I really like was just in this panic. And so he granted it. He was okay with it. You know, he let me go ahead and do it. So
What do you get? It's like a letter from the judge saying, "Hey, it's
yeah,
cool,
so it's
give
just
this girl
basically
abortion."
it's just basically a motion saying
permission
that
slip?
I don't need a parent's signature. So I go to the abortion clinic, and that was quite the experience. I mean, like, you hear or see like on
tell
the
us
movies.
about that. What's an abortion clinic look like?
Oh, it's so sketchy. Like, first of all, it was in a sketchy ass area,
They always are.
and it's like in this like, you know, you don't see like a big sign out the front or anything. Like, there really isn't anything indicating that's what it is. You just go into this like building. It's almost like, you know, it's like an office building, and like it's just this really like, out of the way office that, you know, you have to know where you're going to be able to find it. But of course, you had the people like you see on TV and stuff standing outside the clinic, you know, with the signs protesting.
Oh, right.
So as I'm walking in, they're calling me a fucking whore and a baby killer and a murderer and all this stuff. And,
Oh my God.
you know, so I was just like, and it was hard on me, you know, it wasn't like I was just like, oh, I'm having an abortion,
Well,
you know.
You're young.
Yeah,
You're still
yeah.
young.
And it was hard for me to come to terms that I was going through this. Like I was going to have to, I'm really doing this. And so that was pretty traumatic. And then so then they're doing the pre-ultrasound. They're putting me to sleep, but they're doing an ultrasound as they're putting me to sleep. And the doctor calls the nurse over. He's like, take a look at this. So she's looking, and he's like, do you see two?
Oh, no
And
way.
she was like, yeah. And he's like, you're about to have twins. Are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, well, I wanted to do it with one. I mean,
Double yes.
you know.
Double yes.
But at the same time, you know, I'm already like
Wow.
almost under. Like I'm out, and he's asking me this. Like I really didn't have a choice at that point.
Yeah,
like
there's no processing.
yeah, I couldn't process that. Like I couldn't understand that. And you know, of
Golly.
course, people have always asked me like, well, you never thought adoption was an option and all this shit. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what it's like to be a scared ass fucking 50. I mean, I literally.
You said boys are asking you this? People...
No, but like other people were asking me like, have you ever considered adoption? Like, why not just have the baby and put it up for adoption? And I'm like,
And, well, like, you never know, and that's yeah. You're a terrified kid.
yeah. I'm like, well, that would involve having to tell my parents, and you know, like, and then like literally had the abortion the same week as my 16th birthday.
Jesus.
And
Life is a plot twist.
So you did go through with it?
yes, I did. I woke up just bawling, like just totally distraught. Like it was a horrible experience. And I was really like, it really fucked with me. Like I knew my due date. So every year on that due date for like years, it was just like, I'd have that pit in my stomach. And, so when I was 17, I had to start getting like my normal like women exams, like my PAPs and stuff like that. And I was seeing a general physician for it, 'cause you usually don't start seeing like an actual specialist until you're an adult. And she had started asking me questions. Are you sexually active? Have you ever been pregnant? So I told her the truth because she's my doctor. I told her I had an abortion. You could immediately see the judgment in her.
Yeah.
So then after she did my exam, she said, I'm going to have to let you know that the chances of you ever being able to have kids or getting pregnant is pretty much zero. She's like, whatever procedure you had caused a lot of scar tissue in there. And
Botched you?
yeah, well, that's what she was claiming.
Yeah.
You know, she was telling me you're never going to have kids, like basically condemning me because of what I did. So I was like, all right, fuck yeah, dude. I don't want kids,
Yeah,
you know?
free birth control for life.
No, like, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good. Because at that point, I didn't think I deserved kids. You know, I mean, I was just fucking. At this point, I'm 17. I'm ready to move out of my house. I'm fucking selling an insane amount of weed and acid to supplement my job. You know, so like I have my job, I have my serving job, which I make pretty damn good money at. I'm about to graduate high school. And I have the side hustle. So I'm like fucking good. I'm doing really good for myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, 17, you're crushing it.
Oh my God. I was doing really good. So then my crazy boyfriend, he got like a 10-month jail sentence for like kidnapping because he like held this dude, him and his friends held this dude hostage while they robbed his house and shit.
Jesus.
So he's in jail. So I'm like, oh, I'm free.
You're free.
I'm fucking free. So I got an apartment. I literally moved out on my 18th birthday.
He was living with you?
No, I moved out of my dad's house.
Okay.
So at this point, you know, it's my dad, my stepmom. You know, my stepmom, me, we kind of had this contentious relationship where we were cool. We would get along to each other's face, but behind my back, it wasn't really, she didn't really approve of a lot of the things I was doing, and she made it well known to like my grandma, my dad, like she was constantly throwing me under the bus, you know. So And I went to school the next day, and I did this all the time. Like, it was nothing for me to go into school and be fucked up. I just go sit at my desk, put my head down.
While you're tripping on acid.
Yeah. So get this. I had this weird fucking photographic memory back then. Definitely don't have it anymore. I had this fucking crazy memory. I don't know if it was the drugs or what, but I would look at something like, you know, that they'd give us the assignment. I'd look at it, read it once, and I just could like recall it, the picture of it in my head. So I never struggled in school. Like, I'd pass my tests, no problem. Like, the information was there. I just recall this picture in my head. I'd be able to see it. So I never had problems with that, with my grades or anything. And I would actually have like other kids in class like get pissed off because I'd sleep every day in class and I'd get a better grade than them.
You're like acid Rain Man.
Yeah. And like my teachers would talk to me about like, you know, are you cheating? But they knew I wasn't. There was no way I could have been. It was just, you know.
I'm so jealous of that superpower.
I was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I just study when I get home. And
you just don't try. You just didn't have to try.
Just fucking.
Nope. It was so easy for me. I ended up graduating with like a 4.5 GPA because I was taking honors and shit.
Insane.
Yeah.
Dropping acid, smoking weed, crazy lifestyle, and still walking out with a 4.5.
So I actually got like scholarships and shit.
Jesus,
like
man.
I graduated with a 3.2, not trying, and thought I was fucking hot shit.
You're King Dong.
Yeah,
man.
I was like, fuck yeah.
Dude, I was just like, it just was nothing.
So what are your thoughts after high school? Like, what's your goal? Like, your plan?
Of course, everybody, like my mom and my dad were like pushing me to use my scholarships, go to college. Like, they wanted me to be a lawyer. And I wanted to do that too. I wanted to be like a criminal defense attorney.
It'd be fun.
Any good schools like going your way?
So it was Miami, the University of Miami, Florida.
In Florida? Yeah. Damn, the hurricanes.
So I was like, I'm taking a year off. I'm fucking done. Like, I'm taking a year off. Like, I want to just go get my place. I want to enjoy the year off of school, and then I'll use it because my scholarships are good. I could wait 2 years to use them.
Oh, okay.
So I get my own apartment. And at this point, it's just like a fucking free-for-all. Like, I have my own place. So, like, the fucking amount of, like, slanging I was doing just, like, doubled. Like, I was hustling the fuck out of that shit, you know? Like, but the thing is, like, all this time, like, I was going through all this stuff from middle school all through high school. Like, I was around a lot of older people that were teaching me this shit. Like, teaching me what not to do and what to do. And so I knew, like, not to have people come to my place. Like, I'd always go meet them somewhere. I'd have send somebody else out, or, you know, I had ways of doing it. So it wasn't like I was having people coming in on my apartment to buy shit. Yeah. Now, I did have people coming over to party, and I just lived in this little studio apartment. You know, the bed came out of the wall. And you know, you walk in, it's just your bed's in the wall, and then you have this little, like, bar kitchenette and the bathroom, and that was it. But it was like, now my place is the party place again. A lot of my friends still lived at home, and so they would come over. So I wake up one morning to, like, someone knocking on my door. I'm like, who the fuck's knocking on my door? Like, they're the police, you know? And it was the fucking police.
Damn.
So I go to the door, and he tells me, some of your neighbors are concerned about the traffic you have coming in and out of here. And I had suspected that maybe they had been watching me for a little bit too.
You should have just flipped it and been like, oh, what do you mean? I'm just having parties.
Yeah, so I was, like, paranoid already as it was. So I had already expected they were, like, onto me. So, like, I felt like he was just, like, I didn't feel like anybody really complained about it. I felt like he was making an excuse.
Yeah.
Fishing.
Yeah.
He was fishing.
So I was like, I have a lot of friends. I'm like, dude, I'm like 18 years old. Like, I have my own place. My friends are always coming over here to hang out. So yeah, I get that. And he's like, but there's been some word on the street.
This plainclothes officer?
No, he was in uniform.
Really?
He's like, there's been some word on the street that there's some things coming from you. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean by things. You know, I was just really trying to play dumb, you know, and he's like, you know, like, and he started saying, like, LSD, marijuana, and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I smoke marijuana, but I don't give it to anybody.
Someone's talking, though. LSD.
Well, so I think someone got busted and they
and
snitched.
they ratted you out.
So they were definitely fishing.
And he definitely, like, he nailed all the drugs that you were doing, you
The
know?
main ones.
So
at
it wasn't
least.
just like,
Oh yeah, that was it. Like somebody fucking totally
was
ratted
spot
me
on
out.
with it.
And they had no problem throwing me under the bus. It's not like I was some like badass gangster
Yeah.
that was gonna come back and fucking do anything, you know? So
Doesn't matter if you were anyway. People chuck those
yeah.
guys under the bus too.
oh yeah, true. And that's funny because I never did that, but people thought I did because I would get my ass out of so much fucking trouble. Like just playing the innocent card. Like at this point, I was like a master fucking manipulator. Like I used those survivor skills as a kid, reading people, reading the room and stuff to turn that into manipulation. So I was all high and mighty. I don't have to steal from anybody. I don't have to rob from anybody. I'm not fucking anybody over. But I was manipulating people. I was playing on their emotions. I was getting them to hand over what I wanted and needed by making them believe I felt a certain way, or you know, and that was just as bad. You know, I was fucking with people's heads big time, and so I really just played the dumb card. He told me they were gonna come back with a warrant, that they had enough on me to come back with a warrant. I said, well, once you have the warrant, come back. You're not doing anything right now.
Make some cookies for you.
Right? Like, well, thank fucking God. I actually was in between. So there was like a dry spout. I don't know if you guys remember this, but back then, sometimes there'd be like a couple week what we called the dry spout where you couldn't find fucking weed.
Drought.
Yeah. Couldn't find, thank you. I said that wrong.
Drought 3.
Yeah. And you couldn't find it anywhere. It would be like dirt weed, you know, full of seeds
yeah.
and stems and shit.
I remember.
So I was going through that, and then I had just given my friend 200 sheets, like 200 hits of acid, 2 sheets of 100 piece of acid to sell for me. So I didn't have shit in my apartment. Like I had just given them to her because she was going to a rave or some shit. She was gonna sell them for me, and I trust her. She had been my best friend all through all this shit, and so I had just given those to her like the night before. And I was in a drought, so I didn't have any weed.
When did they come back?
Like 2 hours after
Holy
he knocked on my door.
shit.
After the knocking?
Yeah.
Initial knocking?
He came back with a warrant.
2 hours later?
Damn.
I was so fucking lucky because
Like-
he fucking sat outside my apartment while
And
they
waited
waited for the warrant because he wanted to make sure I wasn't going to come out and ditch shit. You know, like they were ready for a huge bust. Like they thought they were going to get a big bust on me. So he comes in and they, you know, they had a couple other guys come in and these guys were like plain clothed.
Yeah.
I think they were like, you know, the narcotic agents or whatever.
Yeah.
And not much to search in my apartment, but they fucking tore the place up.
Probably
And
fucking DEA.
What'd you do afterwards? Did you like kind of do a little, told you?
I was like, I don't know what you guys are looking for, but you're not gonna find it.
not
you
here.
know.
You guys put my shit back?
And so then they apologized to me because they said because of the fact that they said they had gotten misinformation, they had gotten wrong information, and now they understand. They see like
Nothing going on here.
right, and so they were apologetic and shit. So they're probably assuming that whoever fucking told them was just making shit like just you know telling. They probably knew I was like using this shit, but actually selling it.
Yeah, that all
like,
but confirms that someone told on you.
yeah, so I was cool on that, and then I just started being a lot more careful and shit, and just really was just trying to like lay low for a while and not fuck around. So I was really just like kind of putting that to the side and just doing like with my friends and stuff, like people I really trusted. And then so my good friend, the one that I would have go run shit for me and stuff, we had been best friends all through all this shit. She had a guy she was dating, and he was kind of abusive to her, and they were back and forth. And one time they broke up. She started dating our manager at work. So everybody at work, we worked at Steak and Shake still at this point. She worked with me. We all partied together. Like we would go out after work. Like our managers would have big parties and shit. And we would have these big parties together. And so she started dating one of our managers, and she briefly dated him. And then she got back together with her, you know, crazy boyfriend or whatever. So they decide one night that they're going to go to this dude's house to get my friend's vacuum the manager that she had been dating.
Okay.
So she's gonna go with her boyfriend to her
this, ex's house.
Yeah, to get this
the
vacuum that she left over
It's
there.
gonna go great.
Yeah.
Well, he's at work. The manager's working, so she calls up to the restaurant and talks to him to see if he's working. Before they go there, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm at work." She's like, "Well, I want to pick up my vacuum." He's like, "Well, you're gonna have to wait because I'm at work." Well, they go to his apartment anyways, and they break in.
Oh my god.
And they steal like a bunch of shit. Like steal some money and some CDs and a game console.
They told on themselves before
I
they
know,
did
that's
it.
what I fucking said, dude. So they come to those two come to my apartment afterwards because I was having people over.
No, yeah.
So they come over to my apartment and I'm just kind of clueless.
They have all the loot with them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm just I was clueless. Well, when they get there, she tells me about it, and I was like, "Dude, you're a fucking idiot,"
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah.
And
So dumb.
she's like, "Oh, he's not gonna do shit about it," and I'm like, "All right, whatever." So we're partying and stuff, and again, someone's pounding on my door like they're the fucking police, and at this point, it's just me, my friend, and her boyfriend. It's just only us in my apartment. And I'm like, fuck. So I look out the window or the people or whatever, and I see that it's obviously it's a plainclothes cop, like but you could see his badge. It's a detective. And I'm like, fuck, dude, it's the cops. And she's like, don't tell them we're here. So they go hide in my bathroom.
Fucking efficiency apartment.
I know. So they go hide in my bathroom with the door closed.
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm dressed like, because of course, I had dated this guy who's like a gangster wannabe. So
Yeah,
I
so
had
you're
that mentality and
little hood rat
mindset.
girl.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like Trina was like my bitch, Trina the rapper, she was like my bitch. Like my MySpace was the baddest bitch. Like my
Yeah.
brother and his wife still tease me about that. So I go out there and I have this whole like ghetto, like South Pole get up, like velour
man.
suit with like one leg pulled
Yep,
up. And
Yep.
and I walk out there like I'm just like, so I just like slip out the door and shut my door behind me. And I'm like, can I help you? And so he starts telling me, we got a report that there was a robbery and we believe the suspects are here.
God.
Her car's right outside.
Out front, yeah.
And I go, yeah, they were here. Like I had people over, but they left with someone else. They're not here anymore. And he's pressing me, dude. He's fucking pressing me. And he's like, well, we have information and a witness saying that you were with them. They said, and he gave my description. Like at the time I had like the same length hair I have now, but it was all curly.
So he's trying to scare you.
Yeah. And he's like, a witness said they seen another girl with them with black curly hair. And I'm like, well, dude, you're looking at me right now. I'm like, how do I know you're not just making that shit up? I'm like, I've not left my fucking apartment all night. Like, I'm like, he's like, well, do you mind if I take a look around your apartment then? And I said, do you have a warrant? And he was like, he's like, not yet, but we're in the process of getting one. And I go, well, if you don't have a warrant, then you're not coming in. And he's like, well, if you're worried about like other things, like if you guys are smoking pot or drinking or whatever, he's like, I don't care about that. We're just looking for these robbery suspects. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, well, come back with the warrant. And I just went back inside. So I'm sitting there like, fuck, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, there's no other way out of my
You can't
apartment.
get out, yeah.
Like, except for the front. And he's sitting out there. Like, I mean, he's
Oh,
not
he didn't
leaving.
leave.
Like, he's literally
Same
standing
thing.
on the fucking sidewalk watching my front door and told me he is going to stay there until they get the
Waiting
warrant.
for the warrant. God, what? Man, you got bad luck with that.
Well, I was like, so in my bathroom, there was like this attic crawl space that had like this thing you could pull, like the chain
pull
you could
down,
pull
yeah.
down. So I was like, you guys need to get the fuck up there. And the way that like the crease of the door like looked is you couldn't tell, like unless you really knew it was there and you looked really close, you couldn't tell because it blended in with the
It's like
tile
painted
squares.
the same color
Yeah.
as like the rest.
And so I told him, get the fuck up there. I unscrewed the chain so you couldn't see that there was a chain hanging there, and screwed the chain from
Smart.
it, like put it in my pocket.
Smart.
And then I had like those glow in the dark, like sticker stars thing.
Yeah, you put it up
And
the
I
hole.
put them all over the ceiling.
Brilliant.
It covered the
Gee.
hole. It covered
Wow.
the creases and shit.
You're good.
So you couldn't fucking tell there was anything there. And so it probably took about an hour and a half or so, and they come knocking on my door with a warrant. And
Wild.
so I'm like, all right, you know, come in. And there's like 3 or 4 cops in this tiny little efficiency.
Yet again.
They're looking everywhere. They're pulling shit out, looking everywhere, looking all around. Even the one cop even walked in the bathroom, was looking up, and they're like, they're not here. I'm like, I told you, they left. Somebody came and picked them up. They left. So, you know, there was nothing they could fucking do. The detective told me, he looked right at me, and he's like, as soon as I have enough evidence, I'm coming back to arrest you for complicity. Like,
Oh, boy.
you know, guilty by association, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, peace.
See you then.
Get the fuck out of here. You know, so.
How long your friends up there? Like, from.
Oh my God, they were up there for hours. I mean, they fucking stayed up there.
And what are they doing? How much
it had to
space
be
we got
so
up there?
hot.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a tiny space, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was like the middle of summer or anything like that. It was. I don't remember what time of year it was, but I know it wasn't
those
like.
crawl
'cause I mean,
spaces are hot.
yeah,
as
and I mean,
fuck.
I was wearing a full ass velour like
I just got
fucking
nothing to do
jumpsuit,
up
so
there.
it wasn't like hot outside. But yeah, they were up there. They
Just
brought.
sitting
They
there.
had the bag of shit that they stole
Up there
from
with
him
them.
up there with them.
God almighty, that's insane.
So they ended up falling asleep up there for a while.
Wow.
So this detective, these cops are waiting out there for her to come back and get her car. So they were out there like until the early fucking morning hours and before they finally left. And they're waiting. So I'm assuming that they had a cop waiting like at the exit,
entrance, yeah.
you know, for when she was going to pull out. But they finally pulled away from my apartment and kind of scattered and stuff. So like the next day by like midday, they finally felt comfortable enough to come down.
So they're up there the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my.
So these dumbasses decide they're gonna fucking take the bag of shit and throw it in my dumpster in my apartment complex. So so they throw it in the dumpster. I think they had somebody else come pick them up though, because they were too scared to drive her car out of there. So they had somebody come pick them up, and she didn't come back for a couple days to get her car. But they eventually caught up with them and arrested them. They ended up getting charged with it. So then the detective came back to interrogate me about the whole thing because he was still convinced that I had been with them that night. And he kept telling me, I'm gonna get what I need, and I'm gonna arrest you. And I'm like, all right, well, when you do that, come back and arrest me. Like, I don't, you know, like, these are empty threats right now, you know. So, but fucked up thing is that for like 8 years after this happened, I would check like online to see if I had any warrants for like 8 years, because I was so fucking scared that they would put a warrant out for me and I wouldn't know it. And like, of course, after I had my kids and stuff, I'd be worried like my kids would be with me and I'd get pulled over and get arrested on this warrant. So yeah, so that was just
never happened.
Nope.
No.
I never went to jail. I never got arrested or
Wow.
anything.
Well, you didn't do anything. You didn't do the robbery.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When did you turn the corner and decide you wanted to get clean?
Well, so I remember the doctor told me I couldn't get pregnant. So I ended up going through a bunch of fucked up shit. Like, so my ex got out of jail. He got out of prison. He tried to contact me and get a hold of me. And I kind of hung out with him a couple times, but we weren't going to get back together. He introduced me to this other dude who was like a huge big time like weed dealer. Like he was like the dude, you know? So he introduced me to him and I started getting weed off him. Well, I started dating this dude. And so one night it's this guy's birthday, you know, and he comes over to my place and I'm like trying to make it a special night for us, you know, and we're like in the middle of the act and my crazy ex comes walking through my door.
Oh, his homie.
Yeah.
Your
So
crazy ex.
yeah, so this is the dude he introduced me to do that sold the weed and shit. So he comes walking in my door.
While you guys are in the process. Mm-hmm. Boy.
And he fucking just starts going nuts, starts breaking shit, throwing shit at me, like punched me in the forehead. But the dude I was with was actually like,
Dude, what about dude? Why did you
what's he
punch it
doing?
on dude?
well, so the dude I was with, he was trying to like grab his bearings, you know. I mean, he's just like trying to get it together while all this is like I'm fighting him. So he finally gets a hold of him. Like he's bigger. Like everybody was scared of my crazy ex. Like everybody was afraid of him. I could never date anybody because everybody was terrified of him. Like he was fucking crazy and he like beat the shit out of some motherfuckers and put him in the hospital. So people wouldn't fuck with him. But the dude I was with, he was actually like bigger. He could take him. So he was able to hold him down and hold him back. I like ran back in the bathroom. I think I called the police or something. And my ex ended up getting away, and he ran and took off. And it was this whole ordeal. And I was scared to stay at my apartment. So my mom had actually lived like down the street from me. So she let me come stay at her place. And I was still dating this other dude, the dealer that my ex introduced me to. So he had a house. I ended up moving in with him. Mm. So we were together for a little bit, and I caught him cheating on me with his ex-girlfriend.
You like physically caught them?
Well, yeah. Like, I mean, I didn't catch him in the act.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't like this whole like karma situation or anything. Like, I didn't catch him in the act. But you know, I had enough, and he finally admitted it. Yeah. And when I confronted him, he admitted it. Like, he didn't deny it, basically. So I'm like, fuck this I'm not going through this fucking bullshit. So I go and rent a U-Haul, like this huge ass U-Haul, because I had all my shit from my apartment at his place, and he's sitting there, and I'm like fucking just moving out this big. He would not help me. I had to move everything out myself. So I get the fuck out of there, and at this point, my dad, you know, my stepmom are still living in the same place. So I'm like, I'm gonna come back there for a little bit, and so now I'm on the rebound. Like, I'm basically looking for like a revenge thing. Like, I'm going to find some dude and, you know, I'm going to play the game, basically. So then I met my son's dad through mutual friends or something like that. It was supposed to be like a one-night thing, and I was supposed to not be able to get pregnant because the doctor told me I couldn't. And I ended up getting pregnant.
Classic.
The miraculous conception.
Classic.
Yeah, right? So I'm not going to have an abortion, of course. I'm only 19 at this point, but I'm having the baby. You know, I'm having this baby. I'm not doing that again. So I could not stand this dude. Like,
you have a tendency of dating men you can't stand.
I know, but I think it was just like me. You know, it was just like
absolutely,
I mean, it was the kind of men I was attracting to. You know, that didn't help. And so I just couldn't with him. So I broke up with him when I was pregnant. I ended up getting an apartment, but then my grandparents were worried about me living alone and being pregnant. So my grandma wanted me to come live with her. So I did. And, didn't really talk to my son's dad the whole time I was pregnant. He started dating another girl, moved in with her. So after my son was born, I was like, I'm not going to sell shit anymore. Like, I'm not going to do other hard drugs anymore. I'm just going to smoke weed, maybe drink I didn't really care for drinking. I wasn't a huge drinker. I would do it, but I just didn't. It wasn't my first choice.
It's like a bonus.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm just not going to do that shit anymore. I did not use anything the whole time I was pregnant with my son, which I was.
Smoke, nothing.
No, nothing. I mean, I still smoked cigarettes, but like I didn't do any drugs, I didn't smoke any weed or do anything like that. I was really proud of that. But of course, as soon as he was born, I could not wait to fucking get out there again, you know? So he was born, I started smoking again. I started hanging out with his dad again. And I felt like, I'm going to try, I have an obligation to try to make this work. We have a kid together. So that ended up being a whole fuck show of like a roller coaster with him. And he really like was doing things that I felt was putting my son in danger and stuff like that. And then when I let him come live with me, like there was some sketchy things going on with my son that like, you know, basically he was being like really rough with him in the bath and like basically waterboarding him when he was giving him a bath and shit. God. So my son was like terrified of bathtubs. And so at this point I'm living in this condo that's connected to my dad and my grandma's condo, but I'm living in my own condo and they're in front of me. They're connected to me. So they're taking care of my son while I'm at work, and his dad's sleeping all day and not working. But when he would get up, he would go pick up my son, and my son would scream and throw a fit. So they knew something was up, right? So I was like, fuck this. So I just told him, like, I'm taking you back to your parents. If my dad finds out that you're fucking doing shit like this, he's going to fucking kill you, you know? Like, this is not good. I'm like, if you want to see him, you got to take me to court. Like, you got to let the courts decide this. Like, I just don't feel he's safe in your care. And there was all this other shit I'm not going to get into, but it was just this whole ordeal. So then after that, I started, that's when the opiates came in the picture. After my son was born, it was like one thing after another. After he was born, they gave me Darvocet, you know.
Oh, that's it for pregnancy? Having given birth?
Yeah, after giving birth, they give you shit.
Did he take you to court?
No, he never did.
No.
Yeah, my son.
Deadbeats never do.
They always,
yeah, my son's 20 and still has not met him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they'll text here and there, but my son just really does not.
No interest. Good. I mean, he's a deadbeat. Like, what have you done?
So, I was always honest with my son. Like I was the one that kind of put a stop to it. He had the option of taking me to court, but I was the one, he would try like periodically, like spontaneously over the years, he would try to get a hold of me. But at that point, I'm like, dude, he doesn't even know you. Like, I'm not putting him in this situation. Like, this needs to be handled by professionals. Like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So I got mixed up with the opiates.
Started with Darvocet. Huh?
Started with the Darvocet. That was like fucking coming in really easily. Like, I was getting those so easily. And then I ended up getting this really extensive surgery on my wisdom teeth. Like, they had to like literally extract my jawbone to like get they were so embedded in my jawbone. So
upgraded.
I had to get like my jaw wired shut and everything. And so I was on like Vicodin and Perks for like 2 months. I ended up getting really infected. I had to go back. They literally cut it open like without even numbing me or anything. And they had left a bone fragment behind in there. So yeah. That was like another month worth of pain medication. I was getting migraines. I had been getting migraines since I was a little kid. So I was getting these awful migraines and pain back in my shoulders. So they sent me to like a physical therapist, a chiropractor, and they had found that my neck bone was like curved the wrong way. So I had to do all this physical therapy. So pain management, physical therapy. Pain management was giving me pain medication and physical therapy was giving me pain medication. And they both knew about each other. I mean, it was like no problem. I mean, I'm only like 20 at this point, 21 years old.
What year is this?
2005, 2006. Okay, so they're just fucking
loading you up.
Giving you whatever,
And I mean, sure, it was no time before...
You're not taking them as prescribed.
Before I'd run through like a prescription that's supposed to be for 60 days and like a week and a half.
Yeah. So they giving you like the fives, like all five?
They were giving me, so the pain management doctors were giving me the Vicodin 750 and the physical therapists were giving me the tramadol, the Ultrams, but they were giving me a shit ton of those. And they tried to insist that, those aren't addictive, they're systemic. I had the worst withdrawals from Ultram and tramadol.
Really?
So sometimes that would be all I had for like a week and I wouldn't be able to find anything
While
else.
You're waiting to re-up at the doctor?
Yeah. So I would only have the tramadol, but sometimes I'd run out of that and I'd still have like 2 or 3 days that I'd have to go without. And those were the worst fucking withdrawals I've ever been through.
Really?
Yeah. Those withdrawals, like I seriously thought I was going to die, opposed to like the Vicodin. I mean, of course the other withdrawals were horrible, but not like this. This was like just, I felt like I was actually like going into insanity.
How much were you taking?
A lot. Like I was getting 100 milligram tablets and I was taking probably at least 10 of those a day.
Damn. Okay.
So then it got to the point where I was taking like upwards 40, easily taking 40 pills a day, and I was just chewing them like handfuls, like, and I would just chew them up because they would last, they would kick in faster.
Yeah.
So I would chew them up. I was waking up after like only being asleep for a few hours and full blown withdrawals, and have to take like another handful.
That's fucking miserable. Off tramadol. Who would have thought?
And tramadols, Vicodin, and so I, like my stepmom was getting her own Vicodin from her doctor that she wasn't taking, so she would sell those to me for like $2 a pill. So I was easily getting them. And then my one friend, my good friend, the one that ended up getting busted for the robbery and shit, I was actually we had a place together at this point. And my son at this point is staying with my dad. Okay, so remember I said earlier, like I went through something similar my mom went through, and now I can understand her better. My dad had offered to, because I wasn't stable. He knew there was something up. Like,
so I got out of control pretty quick.
Yeah, like he didn't know I was like battling a drug addiction, but like he knew that I just wasn't stable. Like there's a whole other story where I had let my sister come live with me, and I lost my condo. Like me and her ended up having it out. So I like,
because you didn't cover your half?
No, like she accused me of stealing weed from her. One morning she came home, she was all fucked up. She has her own like alcoholism and shit, and she was all fucked up on shit. And I was getting ready for work. She came home in the morning and was saying I stole like $10 worth of weed out of her room, and I'm like, I don't need your fucking weed. Like,
yeah, especially $10.
I can easily get my own. And she ended up going ballistic. She like threw a fucking huge ashtray through my sliding glass door and busted it and shit.
Jesus, brother.
And so I ended up getting kicked out of there.
Yeah.
And so I left there, and I was couch surfing for a while, So that's, my son had to go stay somewhere stable.
Somewhere, yeah.
So my dad offered to take him, and I was just trying to get my shit together. I thought I could get it together. I was still maintaining. I was working, and then I got a place with my friend, and then she started getting like heavier shit. Like she was finding methadone. She was finding the fentanyl, the prescription fentanyl patches.
Yeah, patches. Golly.
And so we were doing those, and we would just cut them open and eat the gel out of them.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, and I remember taking I didn't know anything about methadone. So she would get these methadone pills, and I mean, they were not cheap. Yeah, they were not cheap either, but she would get them.
Ones?
Like they were
like the white.
I don't remember. Like they were big.
They're wafers.
Yeah, and you could break them off, and
Yeah.
so I would take like two. Sometimes I would go through like 2 of those in one day.
Damn, buddy.
And I remember just fucking
2 full ones.
Yeah, I would be like
Jesus
driving,
Christ.
like fucking nodding out and just driving up on curbs and shit like that. Oh man, it was crazy. So I was so fucked up, and so something fucking, I don't know how it came to be. Oh my God. So this is a whole nother major thing. Before I got pregnant with my son, my crazy ex, right?
Ex.
Yeah. After all that shit went down in my apartment with him catching me with that dude and stuff like that, I was still working at Steak and Shake at this point. I was working one night. It was like I did 3rd shift, so it was late. It was like 1 or 2 in the morning. There was nobody in there. And he called up at the restaurant, and it was just me and another manager working. And he called up there, and he was just talking shit on the phone. Like, I couldn't really understand what he was saying, but the only thing I could understand was that he was like, I got this thing cocked and loaded, and I'm ready to use it.
Man.
And I was like, fuck. So I hung up the phone, and I told my manager, and she's like, well, keep an eye out for him. Well, I was in the dining room. I was doing something at one of the tables, and she's like, Amanda, drop to your fucking knees right now. And I dropped down so hard on my fucking knees. I mean, they were so bruised. He was like standing outside the window with a gun pointed at me.
Damn.
And she came crawling over me. She dragged me into the office. They locked the door. We locked the door. Well, he came in through the front door, and he's screaming, Amanda, you fucking bitch. I'm going to fucking kill you.
What's this guy's deal, man? Like, move on with your life.
He's like, you fuck with me, you're gonna see what the fuck. I was so scared. So we had the back emergency exit.
Yeah.
So I ran out of the office. I thought I could just fucking book it across. There was like some hotels and parking lots. I'm just gonna fucking get the fuck out of here. So I ran out the back door. Well, he came around and met me in the back.
Oh.
And he like just slammed into me. He fucking hit me in the eye with the thing. I still have a scar up there. Yeah, he pistol whipped me.
Jesus.
And he had the gun to my head. And he was like, you ready to fucking die, bitch? You ready to fucking die? You're going to pay for your sins and all this shit. He's talking crazy ass shit. Like, and I could tell he was blacked out because he had this look in his eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking
This is
dead.
where my life
like,
ends.
this
Steak
is
and
it.
Shake at 2
It's
a.m.
fucking over. And then I hear all these sirens, and he fucking turned around and ran. And I just fucking collapsed. Like that fucking... I was like
roller coaster
crying so hard. And so he ended up got in the car. He made it up to the gas station up the street before all these cop cars. I mean, there was like 10 cop cars surrounding him because my manager had to call the police and said he's got a gun and shit. So he had like 10 cop cars surrounding him. So the cops get him out of the car. They get his gun, but he tries to grab the cop's gun and it fires off.
What?
But it doesn't hit any of the cops.
What?
What did they do?
So he got arrested.
Oh, they didn't like shoot him back?
No, they ended up getting him like because the way he grabbed it, like fired out.
Yeah.
They were able to like subdue him and
That's nuts.
get him under
And
control.
Off to prison he goes.
So they arrested him. So by the time that he was actually scheduled to go to court for all this, I was already 9 months pregnant with my son, and they wanted me to come and testify against him. And I was like, I am not going in that courtroom and testifying against him when I'm 9 months pregnant. I am not doing that. So they ended up getting him to agree to a plea deal, and he took 15 years for assault on an officer. They dropped the charges against me.
What was he looking at before? Like attempted murder? Or?
Yeah. Yep. So they dropped the charges because I wasn't willing to testify. They got him on the assault for a police officer. So he got sentenced to 15 years.
Okay.
And then,
What'd Mike get when he tried to do suicide by cop? Like 5?
What do you get, 5? Yeah, something like that.
Damn. So he was already on parole from like the previous kidnapping thing,
he's
and
screwed up.
and
that's
he
why.
had
Okay.
a huge rap sheet.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I mean, he
That makes
fucking
more
had
sense.
been in and out. So so he gets so fast forward now. I'm my son has been born. He's living with my dad, and I'm living with my friend. And I don't know how the fuck it came about, but he got in touch with me from prison, and I started writing him. And I know. So then he ended up, so his sister, she was totally opposite of him. Like, she had her shit together, beautiful woman. She had her shit together. She never really used drugs. Like, she would drink, but she was already like, she was a year younger than me, and she already had like her MBA and shit. Like, she was doing really good. She was working as a huge bank, like loan officer and shit. And she had her own place. So he's like, you can go live with my sister, because me and my friend had lost our place by that time. You can go live with my sister. So at this time I'm working at Eaton Park and another restaurant, and
Still got a full-fledged pill
oh
addiction.
fuck yeah, dude. I was like, it was blowing up. So she let me come live with her. So I'm staying with her, and she's helping me like pay some bills and maintain my car and shit, because I wasn't getting hours at work. Well, I ended up walking out of my job at Eaton Park. My manager, I worked there for like 4 years, and he just was fucking, so he's one of the guys in high school that I used to get to drive me around, and I like would manipulate and shit.
Yeah.
And he had a fucking bone
He's
to pick with
getting
me.
his revenge.
So then when he became my manager, just coincidentally, he was like, fuck yeah, dude. He fucking gave it, like, so I walked out in the middle of a Sunday rush. I was like, fuck you, I'm out, peace, And so now I'm like without a job. I had this other job, but they only had me on call, like if somebody called off. And so she's trying to help me find a job. And so she's dating some prominent figures from Cleveland that are like investors and owners of like these fancy restaurants and shit. And she's like, oh, they're about to open this new restaurant. I can get you a job there. And I was like, yeah, I've never worked in like a fine dining type setting, but I bet I can make some money, And at this point, I'm like just playing the fuck out of like dudes. Like, I'm not like sleeping with them and shit, but I'm like fucking totally playing them. Like, I had a boyfriend, but then I had these other guys that I made think that I liked them, and they were like giving me money and shit and just buying me shit. One dude like paid for my son's entire Christmas, and like it was just fucking crazy. So she finds me this job, and I was really intimidated by it. I'm like, I've never worked in this setting, whatever. I almost didn't go, but I ended up doing it, thank God. And well, while this is before I go work at this job, her brother, who's in prison, my crazy ex, he somehow convinces me to bring drugs into the prison. That was another thing I kept checking my warrants for. So he's coaching me on this.
God.
Whatever.
How do you do it?
What's the statute of limitations on this? I don't
know.
How long has it been?
Hypothetically,
Oh my God,
how would you do it?
Well, I've been with
Has it been a decade?
Yes, it's been longer than a decade. It's been way longer than a decade.
Yeah, you're good.
So, well, I had to go there a couple times just for like a basic visitation. Like, it was a Trumbull County prison. They were really like hardcore about who came in to visit, because they did like common area visits. Like, you didn't go behind a wall or glass. Like, you actually sat at the table with them. And like, so like, they were really like, you had to go through this whole screening process, and of course I didn't have a criminal record or anything, so they just had my ID, and I had to go through this whole process. So I had went in there a few times, and they they did the whole like scan you and shit like that, and so they started to recognize me and stuff. So they were getting really like
lackadaisical,
yeah. And so he told me where to go to get some of the shit, and there was like a bunch of pills and weed and shit like that, and like somehow like he told me where to go to. He sent me this dude out in like fucking, I don't even know, it was like Warren or Rooster, I don't fucking remember, but they like vacuum sealed it like so tight, and it was like in this tiny, like it was like this small little plastic, but it was like a shit ton of stuff. Like, I don't know how the fuck they condensed it, but they vacuum sealed it, and, you know, of course, stuck that shit in my lady parts and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
you know. And then they had a common restroom. So I'd go in there, leave it there, like in the pad dispenser thing. And then they had correctional officers that were coming in and retrieving it. You know, like there was a whole system in there. And so that was fucking stupid as fuck for me to risk that for him. But
Yeah.
I was being basically bribed. I'll get my mom to pay your car payment this month if you get this in here. And I needed that. I didn't want to lose my car. So I was willing and agreeable to do this, right? And his sister was letting me live with her for free. So I felt kind of like obligated. But ultimately I made the decision. You know, I'm responsible for that. So she gets me this job, and that's where I met my husband. Ironically,
At the fine dining establishment.
my crazy ex's sister gets me this job, and I meet like the love of my life. And so I had noticed him first. Well, he disputes this, but he was just too intimidated to talk to me or whatever. So, you know, all the other dudes in the kitchen were like fucking saying shit to me all the time and trying to flirt with me and joke around with me. You know, I don't know if you guys ever worked in the restaurant business, but it's fucking, you know how the kitchen talk and all that shit, you know.
Galore.
So the dudes were like doing that, but he wouldn't say anything to me. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck's this dude's problem? Like, you know, I figured he must have had a girlfriend or something, right? So
He was shy.
yeah, so he was like, and then out of nowhere one day, he's like, hey, Amanda, you know the song Closer by 9 Inch Nails? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I heard that this morning. I thought of you. And I was like, oh, it's fucking on.
I love him. I love him.
You know, it's on. Let's go. And
he didn't know what a train wreck you are.
No, he
Right.
had no clue at this point. And so, yeah, he kept being persistent about hanging out and stuff. So I invited him over, and I was like, okay, this is just going to be another notch under my belt. Like, you know, we're just going to have some fun. And I told him straight up that night, like, I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm never fucking getting married. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm totally going to be on my own. Like, I'm done dating. He's like, okay. He was just totally cool with that. Well, after that night, we never stopped hanging out. It was like an every night thing. And he started to pick up on the fact that I was taking handfuls of fucking pills at a time.
Yeah.
And I tried to convince him, like, oh, I'm prescribed them. I'm taking them as needed. And he knew I smoked weed, and he would smoke weed with me sometimes, but he was the kind of person that he could like smoke weed or smoke a cigarette and then not pick one up for like,
he's one of those,
you know,
folks,
like he doesn't have that personality. Like he can take it or leave it. Like he doesn't. So he knew I smoked a lot of weed and shit, but he started noticing that. So he started picking up on it, and he really got me out of that denial phase, because I was in denial. I was like all high and mighty. I'm maintaining. I'm not like the other addicts, you know, that kind of thinking and shit. So he asked me one time, how many pills are you taking a day? How many pills do you take in one day? And I was like, like 40. God. And that's like on the lower end. Yeah. Like that's like being, you know, generous or whatever. But and he told me, he's like, I love you and I don't want you to die. And he's like, what do we need to do to get you help? And I was like, I don't know why with him. I know it sounds bad because I had my son, but I knew he was taken care of. Like, I knew he was in good hands. Like, my dad and my grandma were taking care of him. And at that point, I seen no worth in myself. Like, I felt like he was better off without me being mom to him. Like, I felt like he was in a better place. So that wasn't enough motivation for me. But when, you know, I had this person who I had absolutely no love or respect for myself, but he's looking at me like, I love you. Like, I don't want to see anything bad. But he wasn't judging me. Like, he wasn't fucking giving me shit or making me feel like a piece of shit or a loser. Like, he was just like, I want to help you get help. So that's when we started the process of looking for some kind of treatment. I was not willing to do inpatient. Like, I was totally opposed to it. Like, I still was seeing my son all the time, and I had to work. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not subjecting myself to that. So we found one Suboxone clinic. This was in 2009, okay?
Yeah.
So that's like when Suboxone was fairly new.
Yep.
So we found like one clinic an hour away that took Medicaid.
Golly.
So we go there the first day after I detoxed for 3 or 4 days, because you have to have everything out of your system.
Home? Like at home
Yeah.
detox?
Yeah. So
Jesus,
like
man.
you have to go in there and be completely clean, or they're not going to give it
It's
to
like
you.
4 days.
So I was fucked, dude. I was like, I was ready to,
Hating
and you
life,
know, like
hating
I was
life,
ready to
just
fucking
say, I
die,
quit,
like just
yeah.
end it. So I go in there and I'm like, I'm just waiting, like counting down the fucking minutes. I can't wait till I get in there and get this medicine. I'm gonna feel better. And so they drug test me and they're like, well, you still have barbiturates in your system. I'm like, what the fuck are barbiturates? Like, I have no idea what I took, you know, right? So like up to that, the 3 or 4 days before that, I was just taking whatever was given.
yeah.
You know, I don't know what the fuck barbiturates are. Like, we can't give it to you until that's out of your system, and it can take 30 days.
Oh,
I'm like, so you're
bro.
going to send me back on the streets? Like, I don't want to use. They're like, well, you can come back every day until it's out of your system, and we'll see. But then that means I can't use anything else, or I'm starting the whole process over.
Yeah.
So I go home that night, come back the next day. It's still in my system.
Oh, man.
And this fucking nurse that's sitting there, she's like, you could tell she has no idea. And I mean, I know back then, like, it's not like how it is now. Like, they weren't really recognizing how bad this was. And she's like, I'm like, how am I supposed to work and take care of my kid in full-blown opiate withdrawals? Like, I cannot do this another day. And she's like, why don't you just go to work and keep your mind off of it? And I was like, I
bitch.
fucking just slammed the table. I was about to, like, I was trying to, like, fucking
Yeah,
throw the
yeah,
table,
yeah,
you know?
Talking about.
I'm like, bitch, do you have any idea what it's like to have to go to work and full-blown
Get
opiate
your
withdrawals?
mind off of it.
So she, like, got scared and went and got the doctor and brought him in the room. And he's like, and I'm just fucking going off. I'm like, you're going to send me back on the streets. This is fucked up, you know, just totally, like, playing this guilt trip. And he's like, all right, give him to her.
Damn.
Well, they prescribed me the max dose, 24 milligrams at the time, 24. So
Wow.
3 8
3
milligram
eighths a
tablets.
day.
But they made you go downstairs to the pharmacy under them to get it right then and there, and then dose it all in front of them.
So you have to eat all three.
So
in front
you
of
have to
them
take
right
all
then?
3 of them right
Oh
there.
my
They watch you
God.
take them.
So much too, especially for a tramadol addiction.
Dude, well, it was at this
Vicodin,
point, it was
too.
like way more than just tramadol. It
Percocet,
was like
Vicodin,
Percocet,
but still,
methadone,
that is
fentanyl.
So
Yeah.
much Suboxone.
Yeah, it was like now the therapeutic, like the starting dose is like 16 milligrams.
16, yeah.
And I wasn't even on heroin, and they gave me 24 milligrams right then
That's
and there.
gnarly, bud.
And so oh my fucking God.
Knocked out.
I was done. I had to
Yeah.
go to work. I went into work, and I'm standing there against the wall, like falling asleep. And my boyfriend, who's my husband now, he's like, you need to go home. Like, just go home, go to bed, whatever. So I told the work I was sick. Well, I got to my car, and before I had even a chance to start my engine, thank God, I passed
Outload.
out for 2 hours, like 2 fucking hours.
Jesus.
I come to like 2 hours later, and I'm like, fuck, I need to go to the hospital. Like, I knew something was seriously fucking wrong. So I drove myself to the hospital. It's fucking stupid, but I drove myself to the hospital. I get there, and they treated me like absolute garbage.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, first of all, they're like, what the fuck's Suboxone? So I'd explain it to them. They had no idea what it was. I'd explain it to them. So I don't know what they did, but apparently with the barbiturates and the Suboxone together, it basically had the same effect you would have if you overdosed. So I basically got overdosed. And, you know, I'll take responsibility for the fact that I was persistent and pushed for them to give me the medication, but I had no idea that it was going to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they did to reverse it, but they left me waiting in the room for a long time. And they had the IV in my arm still. They had me detached from any like fluid or anything. It was just the IV sitting in my arm. And I kept telling them I want to leave. Like, I'm done. Like, I want to go home. I'm done. I feel better. I need to go. And they just kept fucking, you know, leaving me sit. So the one nurse assistant came in, and she was talking to me, telling me they were getting my discharge papers together. Well, there was another nurse like clear across the hallway at the hospital, and she's like, don't let patient in room such and such leave with that needle in her arm. She tested positive for opiates. I was like, what the fuck? And that was like a punch in the gut, because so I have like a fucking severe phobia to needles, like severe, like to the point where if I know I have to go in to get blood work, like I'm sick before I even get there. Like, I'm ready to pass out and black out. Like, they have to lay me down to do blood work and all this shit. Like, I cannot. So the fact that I was in this mindset, like, oh, I'm not like other addicts, and then now here she's sitting here
Yeah, that
saying like,
you're-
you know, I'm fucking shooting up and shit, like that fucked with me, you know. So I don't know, it just made me sick to my stomach. But I think it was a reality check that I needed, because I knew that's where I was headed if I didn't get this shit under control. So I wasn't gonna keep doing the Suboxone after that. It was a bad experience, but I decided to try it again, and then I ended up being on it for 14 fucking years.
So you did the
Damn.
24 milligrams again
Yeah.
after that?
I think I started getting like take home, so like they
Okay.
didn't make me do it all at once.
Right then and there.
They prescribed me 24 milligrams for like at first, but then I got pregnant with my daughter like 2 months after I started it. And back then they switched you to Subutex. They don't
Yeah.
do that anymore, but they switched you to Subutex. So they switched me, and I think they kept me at that dose for a little bit until like the middle of my pregnancy, and then they moved me down to like 16.
14 years of
So
Suboxone.
I had both of my daughters on it, and back then they didn't call children's services on you like they do now, so I didn't have to deal with any of that. My daughters were born. My one daughter was born prematurely, but it had nothing to do with that. She was born at like 36, or yeah, it was 34 weeks. I think she was 6 weeks early, and
Did she come out strung out on?
no, she actually. So she was like only 5 pounds. She did have to stay in the NICU to monitor her, make sure she was like eating and she didn't get jaundice and stuff. But they monitor her for withdrawals, and they never had to treat her for withdrawals or anything. My other daughter, same thing. But she wasn't born early. She was born on time. She was actually my biggest baby, and she didn't have to stay in the hospital any longer than she was supposed to. They kept her there for the like standard 3 days and kept an eye on her, and she was fine. Never had any issues. So, and they're both like, they're 13 and 15 now. So like, and they're fucking amazing. Like fucking, I was just joking with my mom the other day. She did take them, you know, so we, you know, I have a relationship with my mom now, and not like a really intense one or anything, but I'm able
something,
to,
yeah.
And she'll, you know, she's a lot different now, so she'll hang out with my kids, and she took them the other day, and I'm like, and my brother's wife, I fucking love her. She's funny as shit. She gets me. She gets my personality. She'll joke with me, and she sent me a video with my girls like holding up the, like flipping the bird and shit, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Keep corrupting them. They need to live a little, because they're so like sheltered, and they have this totally different life.
Which
you
is
know?
ironic because you're a fucking
I know.
wild card.
I know, and I tell my mom, I'm like, yeah, like, you know, kind of just not like too bad, but you know, just
Yeah, let them taste a little.
like, yeah, I'm like,
Like-
I'm bored. You know, they're too easy. I'm fucking bored. You know, but I mean, I'm not complaining. That's a good thing. I mean, that's one of the things that I really show a lot of gratitude for, is that none of my kids are nothing even close to what I was like when I was their ages. Like, they call it mom lore because I'm open with them. I tell them my stories, and they call it mom lore. Because they're just like, I can't believe you did that. Oh my God, Mom. Like,
That's so
badass.
great that you do that, though. That you share the story so that they understand the dangers that,
oh yeah.
that lie.
Yeah, and they get it. Like, I'm not playing around. Like, and they know. Like, if they were to try to get shit past me, like, they know.
They know, Mom.
But
helping
has
try.
that been successful for you, sharing the truth
Yes,
with them?
100%.
Yep.
Yes,
I'm a
like
firm believer
I
in
definitely really encourage that, especially now that I work with
In the
other
field you
people.
work in, yeah.
You know, I do the peer support thing, and I work with a lot of parents with teens, and I'm like, you know, a lot of them already are pretty open with their kids. I mean, their kids have seen a lot and shit, but I'm like,
Have you noticed that patients from affluent communities, that's not the case with parents?
yes,
That they're like, oh my God, my kid's on drugs.
yeah,
Isn't that wild?
yeah, or it's like, oh, you know, they'll have like, or I'll get like people a little bit older, and they have adult children, and like my kids never knew that I was, you
Yeah.
know, full blown alcoholism, or they never knew that I was using coke the whole time they were growing up. And I'm like, dude, you need to talk to them about this shit. Like, you need to tell them what's up, you know. But yeah, I think that's absolutely, like, one thing is that, you know, it makes me feel really good that I was able to break those like generational patterns and curses. You know, it's like my kids live a totally different life. Like, my son got a little bit of a different taste of it because he did end up staying with my dad pretty much his whole childhood. Like, when I got my shit together, he came to live with us for a little bit, but he wanted to be back where he was
Where he knew,
and he had all of his friends. So I told him to go stay there and be in school, and we ended up moving to a different county. We bought a house in a whole nother county because, you know, getting away from the people, places, things. You know, I soon learned though that you can go anywhere you want, but you're just you're just gonna take you with you. So you know, I wasn't using. I never did relapse.
Are you still on the subs?
No,
You got off
I
the
got off in
subs too.
2023. So I never relapsed.
What got you off the subs? Why did you get off the subs?
Well, you know, I tried a lot over the years. I would try to wean. They were like really pushing me to get off of them
It's
at
hard.
first. And yeah, with the daily dosing, like it was hard. Like it was really hard. I would get down to like such a low dose and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. But I also wasn't addressing a lot of my mental shit. You know, the drug use, the substances were just a fucking symptom. Like, you know, I had a lot of underlying fucking shit that I wasn't dealing with. And I was relying on the Suboxone. So, like, I would say I never relapsed, but I was misusing my Suboxone at some points. Like, I was taking more than what I was supposed to because I was starting to rely on that and use that as, like, I'm stressed. Oh, I got to take more.
Take an extra,
So, like, I really had to overcome the mental addiction of needing something to take every day. I was more addicted to that mental thinking. Like, I have to actually physically have something to take every day, or if I'm stressed. I think that was the hardest thing to get over. But then, you know, there was all these other things. Like, I gained a shit ton of weight. I was like on these mental health meds and stuff, and I ended up getting like the heaviest I've ever been in my life. But I also had sleep apnea that I wasn't treating, so got that treated. I started losing weight. I lost a bunch of weight, so I started feeling good. And I was finding other ways to deal with my shit. Like, I really got into meditating, and that's something I really stand by. And I hated it at first, but that was something I really started to like just
practice.
Yeah, it took me a long. It's like building a muscle, you know.
It is, and like it's hard to sit with me for 5 minutes.
I would just fall asleep. Like, I'd be falling asleep because of the sleep apnea and the medications I was on. I was just nodding off, like constantly trying to meditate. I couldn't stay awake for like a minute or two to even get through a meditation. So, but I was persistent with it, and so started doing other things. Like, I was finding other outlets in other ways. So I started to realize, like, so they were weaning me a little bit here, you know, and I started to realize that I was forgetting to take it. At this point, I'm a peer support, which that helped me a lot in my own recovery. Like, that helped bring a lot of shit to, it brought a lot of shit to light. Like, there's a lot of things I'm not doing for myself that I need to be doing, and it really helped me put that in practice. So I started doing that kind of shit. Well, the place I was going to get my Suboxone for all this time, these 14 years almost that I was going to get this place, never tested like dirty for anything, like never had a relapse or any problems or anything like that. They called me up one day and they're like, if you don't start going to 12-step meetings, you're not compliant with the program. We're going to cut you off.
Wow.
And I was like, because my psychiatrist was accepting the fact that I was facilitating my own peer groups. And I was doing like online smart recovery. So she was, because they required you to do 3 meetings a week, and she was accepting those as my meetings. Well, they decided that if it's not 12-step meetings, you're not in compliance. Like, you have to physically go to 12-step meetings.
How does that make you feel?
Dude, I was fucking...
14 years later, and you're now...
I, like, totally, like, reamed this bitch out. I know she's just doing her job, but she called me, and she's like, tell me this. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like...
You wanted nothing to do with it.
No, I did not want to go to 12-step meetings.
Really?
Like, that was not my thing.
What was the fear?
So a part of that compliance of the program from the beginning was that I had to do 12-step meetings. So I did go, like at the beginning, I did go for a while. And I didn't like the fact that the very few people I did talk to, they're like, don't tell anybody you're on Suboxone. They'll say you're not sober. So I really didn't like that because I felt like I couldn't be completely 100% honest with my recovery program.
Which defeats the purpose, right? Yeah.
And I just didn't really like the structure of it. Like, I know it works. I don't have anything against 12 steps. I know it works for a lot of people, and it has helped a lot of people get sober. I just didn't really agree with the structure of it. Like, I didn't like I wanted to discover like my own spirituality. And I know they say like the God of your own understanding and stuff. I had a lot of shit with like religion and my aunt from when I was little. And I just really wasn't ready to like dive into a program that was like praying and, you know, and I
know a guy that used a rock as his higher power. He's been sober for like 40 years.
That's fucking awesome. And I love that, you know, but I was not in a like mental place to be able to work this program in the structure, the way they had it structured. You know, I tried the sponsor thing and that just wasn't working for me. And I'm like, man, it just wasn't for me. So when they try to tell me after all these years, because then COVID happened, so they were accepting online meetings and I was doing my own. And, you know, so then when things started to go back to normal and they were like, oh, now we expect you to go to 3 meetings and we're not going to accept these alternatives. Like, it has to be 12-step meetings. And I was like, well, that goes against everything I fucking stand for. Like, I'm a peer support. Like, I'm sitting here working with people, encouraging them to find their own path to recovery. And then I'm going to go and do something that isn't my path to do that. Right. Yeah. So I'm like, that goes against everything I believe in. I can't do that. I'm doing my own. I'm like, and why are you trying to fix something that's not broken? I've been in this program for almost 14 years and I haven't had any problems. Like, and now you're trying to tell me like that you're going to just rip it away from me. Well, thankfully I worked for this really great agency at the time that's in Northeast Ohio. They have several locations, and part of that working for them is I was able to see their doctors as long as I went to a location that I didn't work at. So I ended up going there. I'm like, I'm just going to get my Suboxone there. And the doctor talked to me about the Suboxone injection. Oh, yeah. And he's like, a lot of people have been successful getting off with this. And I was like, I didn't think I was ever going to get off it. I remember one of my counselors was like, if a diabetic has to take insulin for the rest of their life, what's the problem if you have to take this for the rest of your life? I'm like, all right. So I just kind of like accepted it.
Problem is, if you don't have it, you get sick as fuck.
Right. That caused me, I could go on for days about the kind of anxiety it caused me.
Traveling is a fucking issue. You got to have your prescription. And it's fucking ball and chain.
For many years, they had this thing where like the prior authorization would come up like every 3 to 4 months. Yeah. And if they didn't do the prior authorization ahead of time, I'd go to pick up my medicine. And granted, I'd already be hours and hours late taking it because they would only fill it the day of. Mm-hmm. And it'd take 24 to 48 hours to get that prior auth. So by the time that would come through, I'd already be like 3 days without it.
Yeah.
You're sick as shit.
But it's a couple times like, I really appreciate like a lot of these pharmacists that were like some of them weren't the greatest, but there were a few that I would, have the same pharmacy, and they were really, really fucking cool. Like they very much like recognized like my effort in the recovery. So I would pay out of pocket for like those 2 days, and they would just dispense the 2 days and let me pay out of pocket.
Oh, that's cool. And then you still get the rest later on.
And then whenever it was and then for a minute there, they would even backdate it so then I can get reimbursed. But then they did stop letting the pharmacies reimburse. You have to submit it through your insurance now and shit. So that was years. I mean, 14 fucking years of like this monthly drug screens, having to go in once a month. At first it was more than that, but then eventually turned to maintenance. So I'm having to go in once a month. I have to do these meetings, bring in sign-in sheets. Like I can't miss my appointment or they're not going to give me my medication. And going to this place and figuring out about so at this point I'm on like 4 milligrams a day. Like I'm just taking a half a tablet a day, and I'm going to work and forgetting to bring it with me. And, so that's when my doctor was like, let's do the injection. Like it's time. So I did that for 3 or 4 months. 4 months I had 4 injections, and they started me at the lower, like they usually start at a higher therapeutic dose. But since I was already on such a low dose of the Suboxone, they started me at the lowest. So I did that for 4 months, and then that was it.
That was it.
I was done. Nothing.
Now you're free.
No withdrawal. No cravings.
It had to feel amazing.
Oh my, that was like a huge, I created like a fucking sobriety date just out of that. So I think I have to look at it because I just recently decided I was doing that, but it was May of 2023. My original sobriety, like I got on Suboxone April 13th of 2009. And it was May of the year 2023 that I had my very last injection. So one of the nurses I worked with, she was cool as shit. She was curious. She's like, because it could take 6 months to a year for that stuff to work its way out of your system with the injection, because it's like a depot. That's why you don't get like the withdrawals, because it works out of your system so slowly. And she's like, it was like 6 months later, she's like, let's drug test you and see if it's still in there. So she did, and it was out. And that was the moment that I was like fuck yes.
Got it. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. So that's like one of the biggest things I get now. I work with a lot of people who are on Suboxone and the medicated assisted treatment. So a lot of people want to know, how did you do it? Like, how did you get off of it, especially after that long period of time of being on it? Like,
it's got to be one of the biggest fears of people that get on
huge
in the MAP program is, am I ever going to be able to get off of this shit?
Yeah, and it's terrifying too, because what if something happens? There was a period of time, like within the first couple of years, that I made a little too much as a waitress, and they took away my Medicaid.
Now you got to pay for it out of pocket.
So I had to pay for it out of pocket. I could only buy like a week at a time, but it was still like $700 a month or something.
Brother.
God damn.
That's steep.
So that's like a really, really terrifying thing. But, so yeah, I mean, and this whole time I'm going through my Suboxone treatment, you know, I've had my 3 kids and
It's funny for a girl. It's not supposed to have any kids. You know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Ironic how that
It's
works.
weird.
Like, fuck, dude. But they saved my life.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you shared the 14 years on the MAT program and the battle to get off of it and
Yeah.
how freeing it feels to be off of it.
Yeah. And so much has changed since I did get off of it. Like, it's like something, it flipped a switch in me.
Yeah, your brain's working properly again.
Yeah. So I started to, like, really understand myself and
Yeah.
really start to become self-aware. And, you know, I really started to find this security in myself and this confidence that I didn't carry before. And, you know, that's what I would, like, had mentioned to you guys, like, earlier, that it took me 16 years to marry my husband. Not a lack of trying on his part. You know,
Right.
he wasn't persistent. He always respected me. He's always respected my boundaries and my wishes and stuff. But, you know, every once in a while he'd bring it up. So,
Yeah.
hey, you know, I mean, we have kids together. Like, he raised my son like he was his own. And, you know, he's like, are we ever going to do this? You know, and then we had to kind of come to this resolve. Like, it's just a piece of paper. Like, we don't need
Yeah.
that to feel secure in our relationship. Like, we're happy. And, but then we know you start getting into like the legal things of it and having kids and stuff and all that. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck it. Like, why don't we just get married? So December 13th of last year, on Friday the 13th of 2024, we got married at the courthouse. And, you know, that was our original anniversary, December 13th, 2008. And, you know, it was,
Worked out.
it felt good. Like, it's growth, you know,
Yeah.
and, I feel like we live like that, you know, that life that people, you know, always think about and want to strive for. And, you know, the white picket fence and the kids and the dogs and, you know, just the good jobs and the nice cars, you know, these things, like, those are all material things, but it's like, you know, it really does exist. Like, it really,
Yeah.
that kind of life does exist. Like, you can have that life. Like, but we both, I mean, he had his own things too. Like, he's not, you know, he's definitely my hero, but, you know, he had his own, like, emotional demons he's had to deal with. But it took both of us looking into ourselves and making those positive changes in ourselves so that we could show up as a better version for each other.
Damn.
And, we have, it's like we're freaking teenagers, you know, we're in this permanent, like, honeymoon of, like, just having so much fun together and laughing and,
Good.
you know, just being in love and, you know, kissing like we did when we first dated and just having this healthy relationship and communication and, like, we're each other's best friend, you know. But I needed to get to a place of security. Like, I had a lot of these insecurities that I was like, I'm never getting married. I used to joke to people, like, what's your secret? Why are you guys so happy after all this time? Like, because we never got married. My grandma would always tell me, like, marriage is the death of a relationship. It changes a man.
You know what I always say? The ring comes off. That's how I speak about marriage.
Oh,
It comes off.
yeah, right.
Motherfucker's not there forever. You
Right.
can take it right
Yeah,
off, and
you're
then all of
not-
a sudden I'm not married anymore.
Right. And, you know, but I was like, I don't want to go through all the dirty, messy, like, legal repercussions of divorce and custody and all that shit. Like, I'm just going to, like, I don't want anything from you, motherfucker. A piece, I'm out. Like, I don't need your shit. You know, like, I kind of was in that mindset of, like, I'll take care of myself. Like, I don't need marriage to be able to feel secure that if something does happen, I'm going to get a bunch of shit from you. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't need that. Like, if I want out, I just want to be able to get out. Like, I don't want to be tied down by all this, like, legal shit, you know, and
Is there a message you would give to anybody in recovery or struggling with the MAT program or to your participants
oh my God,
that you would like to leave them with?
There's so much, but you know, it's just doing the work. You know, the medication's a tool. It's not your whole recovery program. And I tell people not to be intimidated that I've been on it for so long. That's not the typical. People
No.
usually are not on it that long.
Yeah.
But my holdup and my hang-up is I wasn't truly doing the inner work. Like, I was using that as my entire recovery. I was counting on that to save me and to heal me. I wasn't doing that inner work that we all need to do. It's there, and I really had to start like going into myself and figuring out the things about myself that I needed to change inside so that my external world would start to come together.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's just not to feel like rushed though. If you want something to last a lifetime, be patient with it. I think a lot of people are very rushed about it because of the fears behind it. Trust me.
Instant gratitude is what we love as addicts and alcoholics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's like, I get the scariness. I went through all that anxiety for years and years of like, oh, what if I can't get my prescription for some reason? I'm going to get sick. But it's still not the worst. Those days were not even close to being as bad as my worst days, being an active addiction.
For sure.
So, and it's really like, just finding that self-love and that self-respect and that self-worth, like finding yourself in this, and letting that medication work for you like it's supposed to. It's supposed to be there to help you stabilize you and not have to worry about being out there and constantly being on the chase and stuff, so that you can start doing this other work and just, really trying to figure out what works for you and doing that. And getting out there. Like, I think one of my biggest things was like access services to others.
Yeah.
Like getting out there and helping other people. By helping other people, it helped me. Like, I look at my position as a peer supporter, like there is nothing that somebody else can't teach me. So like, I don't know it all. I've been in recovery for 16 years now. And there's still so much to learn. There's still so much about myself to learn. And my peers are teaching me those things every day. Like, they're giving me ideas and giving me advice on how to, what they're doing. And I'm drawing inspiration off them just as much as they are me. But that's so fucking empowering. So if you get out there as, someone in recovery and you're doing this, you're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this work, and I'm going to take this medicine, or whatever pathway you're picking, like being able to find people, like a community of people that you can relate with and connect with, and being able to draw that inspiration and that empowerment and just like love off of one another. There's nothing else like that. And those spaces don't have to necessarily be specific to a specific program. Whether it is 12 steps, or you find some kind of peer support group, or you find something that's not even recovery related. You just find something that
community
is in your interest and your hobbies. And but helping other people and being open-minded to the ideas and the help they give you, that's probably been like the most life-changing thing in my recovery.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Wild ride.
Yeah.
Wild
thank you.
ride.
Yeah.
You made it.
I'm glad I got it out of the way while I was very young. So I did have this opportunity, but I would say that, it took me a good 8 to 10 years of being on the medication before I finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Man.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
thank
coming
you.
out.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Seriously.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I just like fucking talk your fucking ear off, so I appreciate you
Luckily I
listening.
got two of
That's
them.
what we
right?
want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely an honor to be here, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.